Hello? Oh no, my hands. Hello? Why are my hands not working? Hi! It's Shrooming time. It sure is. It sure is Shrooming time. Hi, Yomi. Hi, everyone. Yes, this is early stream. This is an easy early stream. Not a surprise, because we've done early streams before. Oh, but I'm RGBing already. Very good. Early stream so that my lovely European time zone fellas can make it. Almost half of what my Discord server is people who are in EU time zone, so I gotta make sure I'm supporting them as best I can, right? Let me figure out why my hand tracking isn't working fast quick. I can't get a day where everything works properly first try, it seems like. Where's my hand tracking service? Oh, it's just like fully not running. That's cool. Leap motion, what are you doing? Turning green? Yeah, I'm green with envy of all the people whose things just work. Hoshi, yes, I will drink. Let's see, are we gonna work now? Hand tracking? No? Question mark? Oh, come on. Leap motion. Cheered a bit, thank you for the bit. Felt cute by chat for the first time. I'm glad you're here. I'm honored that you'll come chat for the first time. We'll do here's in a second. Why is my tracking not working? Okay, I'll have snack too. Ultra leap, you're allowed to run. There we go. Now it's active. There we go. It needed an admin access for some reason. What's that about? Okay, there we go. All right. Can we take attendance real quick? Do we want to take attendance? Yeah, hands, take attendance. Who all's here? Who's here? I see Cheesecake, Samflower, Choo Choo, Miraku, Greg SCH. Thank you for following. Also Ice Roy Solstice, Bafa Ofi, Hoshi, Gelu Deep Sea, Miraku, Alive to Thrive, Hoshi, Yomi, Clownboy Bandy, Jello Dreams, Umi Aster, Goo Laguna, Billy, Fungalus, Avera Hikari. Who we got over here on YouTube? We got T Timmin, Libula, Libro Creates, G, Ree, G and Ree. You guys are gonna tongue trip me one of these days. Flowshifi, how do you say your name? I read your name last night and I was like, I don't actually know how to say your name. Am I saying it right? Pearl the Nephilim, Asterwee, Vanilla, Iris, Kumi, Chimera, hi! Mix, hi everybody, Mare, Mare, The Silent Night. How's everybody doing? Early Friday, right? Let me take a sip of my drinky here. You just clocked into work? Rip. Oh no. Hi, Kit Katak. I'm so sorry that you've just clocked into work. But I appreciate you stopping by. There we go. Flo Chef, Flo Chef, perhaps. Hi, I don't understand Twitch, hello. Saturday for you? So you're in the future. Yeah, you are in the future. It is Friday for me. It is Friday, 2 p.m. for me. You are certainly in the future. Got to work early, a little sad. Mechanic says you need to work done on your car. Oh, rip. I'm sorry to hear that. That is always a slippery slope having to get work on your car done because sometimes it feels like you're having your leg pulled. They're like, this doesn't work. No, I will not show you evidence. So I hope if the work is done, it does well. It's close? Okay. You're cute. I'll put you in pizza, make mushroom pizza. Hey, if you actually thought I was cute, you wouldn't want to eat me. Hey, that's not true. Just woke up, gang. No time zone. Yeah, I know there are some of you who somehow exist on my time zone fully, despite living half the world away from me. Crazy. G, also in the future. There you go. You love the subtitles now? Ree, did you not love the subtitles before? Were you not on board with the subtitles previously? I think the subtitles are important. Although I have been told that they will randomly make it look like I curse. Are you Eastern? I am EST, Eastern Time Zone. Eastern Standard Time. I am East Coast, United States. Minerva, don't you worry, you're never late. There's no such thing as being late. We have a loose attendance policy here. Yeah. I'm East Coast. That's all you get to know. So the subtitles before, but now you're in an appointment and you love the subtitles suddenly? Ah, I see. You're apparently in the past, or are you behind me? Don't share where you guys are from in places. You can say what time zone or what range you are, but don't give too much detail, okay? That makes me uncomfy. We gotta keep y'all safe. Hour ahead of your time zone. Are you? Huh? Hour ahead. Billy, you exist within the context of all you've lived and all that came before you. Okay, I see. in the past. Yeah, if you're CST or PST, or I don't know what the ocean time zone is called, then you guys are in the past. Hi, Baroque! Switch your account, Baroque. Were you undercover? Were you undercover here? Hi! Hello, yeah, hi EST people. This is probably mostly not EST people here today right now. I would assume. Hi, Arcane Vixen! Hello! Welcome, everybody. Oh, hi, Savruin! Hi, Sav! Learning things? Yeah. We'll learn some things. We'll learn some things. Yes, the Oaken one is here, don't worry. Hi, Soft Feather. So also, me. I do this thing where I was running an ad while I was offline, just to see, just to see if it would make it not do this thing right at the beginning where it wants to run an ad, but it didn't actually fix anything, so I don't know what it's doing. Mountain time. Oh, I see. Okay, so what are we doing today? What have I gathered you all here today? I've gathered you here for a lesson. So apparently I wasn't following you on Twitch, finally a platform you can use without VPN. Hey, there you go. It's all good. I am classic. My number one VTuber move is following somebody somewhere and then realizing to my great horror and terror like 3 months later that I don't follow them somewhere else and I have to face the embarrassment of being like, I know you and I like your thing. I'm sorry I wasn't following you on Twitter. I thought I was. I think it happens to a lot of us. You got an ad as soon as stream started? Yeah, it probably did do that, but yeah. So why have I gathered you all here today? Also, why am I so horribly calibrated right now? I'm like really high up in the screen. Today we're gonna do something called Iterative Drawing, which we can move into the classroom for that, but this is the drawing strategy that helped me finally learn how to draw. I don't know how many of you have heard me talk about this before, but I was never and still am not a natural when it comes to drawing or art in general. I am somebody who it does not come naturally to. For the amount of time it took my peers when I was growing up, going through like high school and college, for the amount of time it took for them to get something and for it to start working and applying in their work, it took me double or triple that time. It just didn't feel natural to me. And it wasn't until I found a couple of other strategies that weren't being taught in school that I finally started to catch up and finally started, you know, to form an understanding of things. So I want to teach you guys the technique that I learned that, you know, helped me finally make that kind of breakthrough in art and finally start to actually improve in my drawing process, with a couple of twists to it a little bit, because I've kind of modified it over the years, and it's something that I teach my students also. Because not everyone has the same mind state or approach to drawing and art, and often it's kind of hard when you're managing a classroom to teach every potential possible strategy. But what can you do? Would love to watch. Topic seems interesting. Need to do some stuff. That's okay. I appreciate you stopping by though. Artsy and cute. You're a mushroom. Thanks. It is a mushroom cat. Look, it's so jiggly. I can like smack it. I'm glad you love my model. So yeah. Free art lessons. That is kind of what this is. YouTube is full of free art lessons. So here, let's go into the classroom. Here we are. What supplies do we need today? Nothing strange or in particular, just something to draw with and something to draw on. So that could be, for me, I'm drawing digitally. So I'm just drawing in my art program. You could also draw traditionally in a sketchbook, or something like that if you so wish. Whatever tools you wish to use. We're doing practice drawing, so there's no requirement of medium or anything like that. Found me through the YouTube on an old VTuber model critique video. Found you again? Yay! I'm glad you found me again. It's probably the one I did. Dang, that was almost a year ago, I guess, at this point that I did the first one. It's been a while, huh? You like my energy? Thanks. Got art block? Oh no. Lesson's good for you because you're fighting against a clock to finish a drawing. There you go. Baroque's cheating. Okay, that's okay. You're allowed to cheat. You guys don't have to draw what I'm drawing with me, but you can follow along if you want to, but more so maybe just absorb like into your mind the ideas we're talking about here. Even if you don't want to draw along with me, or you can't, or you've got other things you're drawing, you can kind of absorb these and use them for later, catalog it for something to do later at another point in time, perhaps. So, what is iterative drawing? Well, it's kind of the sort of between point between analytic and intuitive thinking, where you know how some people will say that you either have like math, science brain, or you have like art, writing brain, or you either have your super analytical left or right brain kind of people, And for me, for being an artist, for as much as I am, I also have a degree in chem. I am much more of an analytical thinker than I am somebody who is intuitive and can just feel things out in art. I'm very jealous of people who can just, you know, try things and they work. They can just kind of suss things out based on vibe. Not all of us are built that way. It's cool if you are, but if you're not, these are sort of the techniques that kind of helped me to, you know, almost learn to function that way, right? Hi, Power Gap. So, where the basis for this came from was, this was a practice method that I sort of came to, dang, almost like 10 years ago at this point. It was, I watched a video from Sycra, who I highly recommend if you're trying to learn how to draw. Sycra has some really good videos. They're getting a little old these days, but you know, drawing techniques haven't changed very much. So it's a method where through repetition, which you know that is practice is, you're able to get more mileage for how much time you're spending doing something. Because if you're practicing and you're just doing the same thing over and over and over and over again, that's just insanity if you're expecting different results, right? But there's a way to make it so that you are getting that mileage out of each and everything you're trying. And for us analytical people, this is the method for us to kind of teach our brain the why of how things work in drawing, where for me, I'm a really hardcore like rule follower when it comes to art and drawing and kind of everything. I did chem. There's rules for everything in chemistry. And that was kind of, I liked that to a degree, but I like the freedom art gives me. So how can I find the kind of intersection point there between those things? Which is how we do this. We kind of are going to intuitively find what those things that aren't quite rules, but they're kind of, you know, something we can visually look at and see works. And we can figure out why it works through process elimination and trying all the different possible permutations of something. Sycra, the most often linked art account. Yeah, Sycra was really, really helpful to me. I don't fully agree with the entirety of the way Sycra teaches this. I've kind of modified it a bit for my own purposes. Just draw till it looks right, don't understand anatomy. That's kind of what we're gonna do here, is we're going to kind of draw until it looks right and do permutations until it looks right. So we're going to draw something. Based in his method, it would be that you would draw something from your mind without using a reference, and then slowly, you know, draw different versions of it, relatively like quick versions of each one, but you're only changing one or two things at a time until it starts to feel like it makes sense to you. Until you are able to analyze and say, hey, this little thing right here doesn't work. What if I try it this way? Oh, that's better. Or, oh, that's worse, actually. So we're going to, you know, iterate. We're going to do something multiple times and make different versions of it while we kind of work out what things work and what things don't. And we're going to log those in our mind. We're going to analyze it. And we're going to log that in our mind, and you will kind of learn, and eventually it will become muscle memory of those things. Yes, success born of failure, exactly. We're trying all of our possible options to see what works and what doesn't. Just learn to draw from watching anime. See, that's crazy to me that people can do that. I'm so happy for you, but it didn't work for me. I drew so much art in reference to Kingdom Hearts, but it just didn't work. It didn't make sense. I couldn't figure out why some things looked right and other things didn't, or it looked right when they did it and it didn't look right when I did. And here's why. It's the way you think about things. So, yeah, by adding that analysis to the drawing, where we're analyzing what is working and what doesn't, you know, you could just draw 15 eyes and just draw them, but you're not getting a lot of mileage out of it because you're not adding things. You're not engaging your brain in the process. You're developing muscle memory in your hand. You're like developing sort of a comfortability with your hand in doing that, but you're not engaging your mind in the same way with it too. Isn't this how learning art works? Miraku? You would think. It's not always taught this way. That's not how to draw from the mind with aphantasia. We're gonna talk about that a little bit too, because I don't have aphantasia, but I am somebody who can't rotate an apple in their head. I have to use reference as well. I'm not good at visualization. So, if we're keeping our brain active in the process, we're getting more mileage out of learning. That's what we do. So the title, you need this? Yeah. We'll do some practice here. So what we're gonna do is we can apply this kind of thinking to any level of drawing. So first, we're gonna do actually a warm-up, but we're gonna apply this to the warm-up. So you all, hopefully, are familiar with the idea of warming up to draw, right? I hope. You don't just sit down and go, okay, drawing time, go. You gotta warm up. You gotta get your hands loosened up. It's like exercise. You can't just exercise without stretching. Yes, totally. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. There's a lot of different ways you can warm up, where last time we did this 2 weeks ago, we did a bunch of really quick figure drawings, just to kind of get the hand moving. Today, we're gonna do my other technique, which is usually more so what I do for, if I'm gonna do line art or something that's more constructed. We're gonna do a technique where you draw a lot of lines and circles, just to get your hand moving, just to make sure you've got the right form, because when I use my hand, that is actually gonna track. I'm wearing my drawing glove. There is a proper form for drawing. There's a proper form. Physically, in the way that you hold your hand, there's a proper form for drawing. You need to, please, for the love of God, draw from your elbow, at least, if not your shoulder. Do not draw from your wrist. Do not, like, be doing this when you're drawing to draw shapes. Actually, I won't track that hand. Do not be doing this to draw shapes. Do not. Draw from your elbow. If you draw from your wrist, you're gonna give yourself carpal tunnel and give yourself decore veins and give yourself arthritis. You also don't have as much control, and you also will have less stability, and you can't draw as nice of arcs. Draw from your elbow, if not from your shoulder. So, as we're doing this, we can say, okay, we're gonna do a little bit of iteration here on how we're just gonna draw lines, because when I'm warming up, I just do a bunch of these, and the idea is to try and make them all the same length and spacing. And the more you do them, the closer, the more accurate you'll get to doing it. See, so I've kind of gotten the spacing a little bit better as I've done more of them, see? That quickly I've kind of warmed my brain up in my spacing for my hand. And that was me doing it from my wrist, though. So we can look at these and say, they're a little bit all over the place. Drawing from my wrist doesn't feel good. In iteration, we'd say, okay, let's draw from the elbow instead, where we're gonna draw like this. And immediately, I'm having a better result drawing from my elbow. I have more stability. I'm not really good at drawing things without making them waver, but it feels better to draw from my elbow. We can see how much I'm warming up, and these are getting much more accurate in their spacing. Thank you for following Attack on Tato? Is that how you say your name? I don't know. Interesting, it's not aware of drawing warm-ups exist? Yeah, you should warm up. You absolutely should warm up. It's a muscle. Even your mind part of it is a muscle, but you gotta get your brain into the right mode, and you gotta get your hand into the right mode too. Past art teacher said some similar thing, don't know if it's from the wrist or the elbow or shoulder. Usually they say from the elbow or the shoulder. Some people, like the old heads, will tell you to draw from the shoulder. I don't have enough stability because I have a little bit of like a tremor in my arm. I can't draw from my shoulder. Mouse users, oh no, gee. But gee, you can run through the same process with your mouse. You can say, okay, I can use my mouse from my wrist, which is what I'm doing now, I'm holding my mouse. Or you can use your mouse from your elbow, where your elbow is the pivot point. Do you see the difference here? Where I'm not moving as far because it's only my wrist, and then when I move from my elbow, how it can move much further in one sweeping movement. You can do the same thing to kind of determine what is comfortable for you. Draw from your elbow, you haven't done warm-ups? Warm-ups are good. You should. Tato like potato? Oh, Tato. I see. Attack on Tato. That's cute. So, you know, we're drawing lines just to practice drawing lines, just to get warmed up. So we've already iterated and decided, okay, it's harder to draw them from the wrist, and I can draw bigger shapes more easily from my elbow. But you know, these lines don't feel very cool. They don't feel very nice. What if we draw them faster? Is faster the way to get a better line? Is faster the way to get a better line? So maybe that's what we'll change. We'll draw from the elbow, but we'll draw them faster. Not quite. Faster feels like less control. So maybe we had a good speed before. Maybe that's not the thing that'll make it feel better. Maybe we need to try something else to make it feel more comfortable. Maybe it has to do with the pressure for the line. The lines don't look great like this. Maybe it has to do with pressure. Maybe we need less pressure when we start and more pressure when we end to make the lines look nice. And you know, these lines look kind of better. We've slowed down, and we're paying attention to how much pressure we're putting into things, instead of having the same pressure all the way through it. These lines have more control. So pressure matters too as we're drawing something. So we can kind of iteratively come to, okay, draw from elbow, don't draw so fast, kind of in the middle speed. You know, think about pressure, where we're putting the pressure. Or maybe alternatively, we could try the alternate, where you start with a lot of pressure and then you let up. Which, for drawing lines, actually feels better. Where you draw with more pressure at the start and less at the end. These ones kind of, if I let go of my pen at the right time, feel the best. Where I've started with a lot of pressure and I let off, and that kind of gives a more natural feeling to drawing a line. So we've iteratively here determined what the most comfortable way of drawing a line is to get the best result for you. And this is like the most simple form of this, where I'm just doing this for warm-ups. Let me clear these actually. You could do the same thing for drawing circles, which is the other thing I'll draw a lot of when warming up. Would it be rude to ask for a video of drawing warm-ups? No, it wouldn't be rude to ask for that. I could make one. Interesting variation of how you learn for animation. Just focus on making quick mark making. Yeah. Mark making to see what fits. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of different ways to do this kind of stuff. Remember that the stream is happening? Zephyrin, you're good. It's all under control here. Don't worry. Really need this? Your line work looks like caca. I'm sorry to hear that, Ririku. But try to move your hands like a Barbie doll first to check your limits. Yeah. So maybe I could make a video just on doing warm-ups, because it's something that artists don't talk a lot about. I do warm-ups before I draw every single time I draw, mostly because I have a wrist injury. So I do like my wrist stretch warm-ups, and then I'll do these warm-ups here. So the other thing that I do is I'll draw circles where, you know, if I draw a circle from my wrist, oh lordy. This isn't even from my wrist. I'm just drawing these circles from my fingers. I'm just rotating. Let me see if I can even show you with my tracking. I'm just, yeah, like this. I'm like rotating the pen in my fingers to draw these circles. Oh boy, those are bad circles. If I draw from my wrist, that's actually kind of worse trying to draw these from my wrist than it is from my fingers. That sucks. But if I draw from my elbow, that one's a little funny. But I'm getting circles that are more circular and I'm lining things up. They're smoother, a little bit less jagged. So I can say, okay, drawing from my elbow is still the optimal way for me to draw these circles from it. Hi, you don't want to do warm-ups, or you don't do them? Oh, hi, poutine boy. You should do warm-ups. Yeah, it's important in the long run. No warm-up in the streets. You live by that? We're not in the streets though. You're in your house drawing things in a way where you can prevent yourself from injury. What if we get better results from our wrist? That is one of those things where if you are getting better resists or better ones from your wrist, Samflower, also some guy, it's a funny name. It's probably because that's what you're most used to. It's probably because that's what you've been doing. And I will caution you with that, which is that drawing from your wrist isn't healthy inherently. Drawing from your wrist is much more strain. Your wrist is a much more delicate muscle system than your elbow is. And you're drawing from your wrist, making all those tiny motions from something that is very delicate, has a lot of small tendons. That's how you can, unfortunately, encourage issues in your wrist. So it probably looks better right now, maybe for you, because you aren't practiced in drawing from the elbow. It does take practice for that to be the same as, or to catch up to, or be better than other parts of the body. Yeah, human design L. Honestly, most of the way that humans are designed is an L. We are designed so poorly, physically, anatomically, it's so bad. But it does take practice to get used to drawing from the elbow, and I had to completely relearn too. When I was in high school, I only drew from the wrist. Then I got a wrist injury, and I had to learn to draw from my elbow. And it is better in the long run. So it is worth it to put that effort into trying it. Crab superior, yeah. What do they call it? The carcinization cycle, or where everything returns to crab? Usually draw with your elbow though. But it could just be you're not warmed up. You might not be warmed up yet. Use your fingers, stretching them. Is it still from the wrist? If you're just drawing with your fingers going like this, essentially, you should, that's even drawing from less than the wrist. You have less space for it. Yes, you may also be drawing too small. From your elbow, it is easier to draw larger. My pen tablet that I'm drawing on, the dimensions here, like from all the corners, is I think a 13-inch diagonal. And I've zoomed in so that way I can make these relatively big. Yeah, wrist tendons have to go through bone. Yeah, when they get abused, they swell and become pinched. Yeah. And then sometimes you gotta get the little tubes around your tendons snipped open, which is horrifying. Don't wind up like that. Don't be me. Don't need cortisone shots. Hi, Silver Watercress. Hi. Wrist has been more sore than usual. Invest in a wrist brace and invest in your elbow. Yeah. Also, do warm up. That also is required. Yeah. Fighters strap their wrists for that reason. Also, yes. You want support in your wrist. So, you know, we draw our circles with kind of that iterative way to try and figure out what way is most comfortable for circles. And then we can do the same thing with circles where, you know, is it easier like it was with a line? We drew those lines and we noticed that more pressure to start, less pressure to end makes drawing lines easier and makes drawing lines cleaner. Is it the same for a circle? If I put more pressure at the start and less towards the end, is that going to make the circle more accurate? No, doesn't seem like it. because I'm kind of flicking my arm around that curve and I'm not connecting the circle. So maybe that's not the way to do circles. Maybe for circles, we have to try the slower method, where we have to actually feel slower about it. But this doesn't feel good either, does it? Going slow means they end up really wobbly and kind of wonky. So there's probably some in between here where maybe we don't have to worry about pressure so much as just trying to get the motion down in your hand. So people who practice drawing circles will often draw spirals to try and get that kind of spiral to be really consistent, the way that you're spiraling it. We're gonna build the muscle memory of your hand, drawing even spirals, and then after you draw these, you kind of get your elbow into the practice of that motion, and you can maybe, if you're not me, draw a circle that is more circular. These are still kind of rough. I will say I'm not good at drawing circles. I don't draw circles either. For me, stylistically, to draw a circle, for it to look better, my iteration of this is that I don't draw smooth arcs. I have a wrist injury. So my iteration upon this further was that I will draw a circle by going like this. And I will make all these little segments that help me connect around the shape, where it's not quite that I'm drawing hexagons or anything, but because I'm not focused on arcs, I can get the idea of the shape down in a way that's more comfortable for me and that I enjoy. Kind of bizarre that your muscles are what learn to draw and not fully your brain. Yeah, that is the weird thing. Your hand can forget sometimes how to draw and stuff. It is odd. Yeah. Usually draw small circles with your fingers, large circles with your arm, usually crossing point about 1.5 inches. Yeah, I mean, sometimes it is easier to draw certain sizes. So like it might be easier for me to draw something like this big based on how big my tablet is if I'm drawing from my elbow. But that's the simplest form of iteration, where we're kind of feeling through what way is most comfortable for us, even just in a warm-up. But that's figuring out the basics of how we draw. Of how do we draw lines comfortably? How do we draw circles comfortably? Those are the basics. We're teaching our brain why certain things are working by making those notes. Straight line, circle is superior? Yeah. Hi, Incinda. Existential horror? Aster, are you okay? Drawing from elbow feels fresh and new. Hey, there you go. There you go. That's good. So, taking this further than warm-ups, because I'm kind of warmed up now. Now that I've done a number of those, I'm kind of warmed up now. The other ones people do for this is they'll draw zigzags and try and make them uniform. So see how rough that started, but then my brain kind of got into it and figured it out here? Yeah, invest in a wrist brace, it's worthwhile. I have 3. I have 1 for both wrists. Taking care of your body strikes fear in you? That should strike fear. What are you talking about? That shouldn't be a scary thing. But there's any number of drawing shapes that can help. Oh, Nick, thank you for the Zupa. Thanks for the videos you make, very nice. I'm glad you like them. I appreciate your support. You also have 3 wrist braces? Yeah, I have 1 carpal tunnel one and I have 2 de Quervain's ones. I got a bunch. Actuation your entire arm from your shoulder works best? Yeah, you've used traditional media. Yeah. It depends. Draw little cats when you do your warm-ups. You can draw anything, but it just needs to be something simple. So you're just getting those kinds of basics flowing in a good way. So taking that kind of a step further, Sycra in his videos would talk about drawing houses on a horizon line if we're thinking about applying this to composition and drawing. If we think about drawing composition, you know, we're thinking about like maybe a horizontal composition, and you know, based on sort of the rules as he explains them, you know, me, an analytical person, I might say, oh, okay, I know where the rule of thirds go. So if we're gonna draw a house on a landscape and draw the landscape line here, you know, we know to put our focal points on one of these points. We don't know why that works. And you know, this is a composition that would work, but is it that interesting? Is it that interesting? We know this is a rule that exists. But then you might have somebody who is like an intuitive drawer who's not iterative or who's not analytical, and they might hear, oh, okay, let's put something on the third, and they might say, oh, okay, we're gonna go like this actually, and put the house here, and we're gonna have an angle, and that's gonna feel way more interesting as a composition. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna kind of walk through the way that we can iterate on composition to kind of make it feel more interesting. You know, you might start with, you know, low horizon line, house on a third. Just sort of what he does. And say, okay, how can we make this more interesting? What is one thing we could change to make this more interesting? What happens if we raise the horizon line all the way up here to the top third and then put the house up here? I'm not really drawing very good houses. You know, we could shade these in too. That's interesting in a different way, but I'm not sure that's doing the same thing. What if we put it in the center? We haven't really put it in the center yet. I'm not doing a good job drawing boxes here, but that's kind of besides the point. What if we put this dead center and keep the house over here? Actually, that feels kind of worse, honestly. This is kind of worse, so we can say, okay, that doesn't work. What if we, what if we tilt the line? Why does the line need to be straight? We could tilt this horizon line and we could say, okay, tilted horizon line and house over here. That feels a little more interesting. That feels a little more engaging. And then we just keep doing this. We keep doing this for everything we can think of for changing for the house to make it more interesting. What if we zoom in on this one instead of, what if we make the house bigger? Instead of changing where it's positioned, what if we just make it bigger? What if we crop it? What if we make the house go off the edge of the view where, you know, maybe the house actually is like this on that upper third? Okay, that's kind of interesting. That's kind of dynamic. And we just work through all the different ways. Yeah. Rule of thirds, very oddly specific rule that appeals to the human psyche. It does, but we're kind of going to work through the why here of we can see where it works, where it doesn't work as much, make the house look scary. Yeah, we can change the shape of the house too if we're talking about composition. What if we use like the basic way this is built? We've got a middle horizon line. But what if the house is like weird and tall? That's a little more interesting than just the basic thought here. No shaming in this economy? Yeah, that's fair. Hand wrist is like a vice to clamp the utensil. Does arm work? Oh, hello! Katsune raiding party. Oh, hi, Katsune. Welcome in, fellas. Shrewmates, can you rotate at them? Oh my gosh, they got little trains. Those are so cute. Oh my gosh, those emotes are so cute. Hi. I'm Squeiji. I am a freelance artist fungi, and I am also an art educator. And right now I'm doing a lesson on iterative drawing, how I learned to draw. I'm a very analytical thinker. I am not a vibes-based person when it comes to drawing, and it was tough for me to learn to draw. So this is the way that I ended up finally learning and making progress. So, yeah. Oh, thank you, Maz, for getting the shout out. Yeah. Welcome, Raiders. What were you guys up to? Were you guys also doing art? Best at running trains, not in that way? Oh. What do you mean? What do you mean by that? Hi! Hi there! What? Oh? What? I don't know what they're saying. Your raiders are saying you're best at running trains. I don't know what that means. We're playing some Spyro and Valor today. Oh, sick! That's nice. That sounds like fun. Get some W's. You're winning, son. Sus? Oh, do they mean something sus by that? I don't know what that means. I wouldn't catch on to that. Tilted perspectives are usually more dynamic. Yeah, a little bit. But that's kind of what we're working to here, is we can say, oh, this one works better than most of these. So we can say, okay, what if we do tilted, but we start it from higher? And then what if we combine that with cropping this house off here? Kind of off the edge. Is this more dynamic? That feels kind of crazy, very shape languagey. Thank you for following, Katsune. When I first started drawing, people had huge heads and small bodies. They were not cute. Drew them all away after you got better. Yeah. Early EG? Yeah, early EG. Mine looks familiar. Oh, maybe you've seen me around. A lot of people have seen me. I did some virtual face videos where it was my head on my real body, and that's where a lot of people have seen me from. Feel for tilted horizon, don't think get it for cropped house. Yeah, but we're just figuring it out. The point of me drawing that one was to say, okay, does that work? Does that do something nice? Maybe not. Maybe it's too close. Maybe we could do tilted horizon and small house, faraway house. That feels interesting. We could do, we draw this down here. You could do, what if it's barely even in the frame? What if it's so low on the horizon, but we put the house on this side? And that feels kind of nice. That gives a very different vibe. Speaking of early EG, we're supposed to be a ping on the Discord for the stream. There was also supposed to be a tweet, but you know what I did? I forgot to do both of those. Whoops, this was the first time I think I've actually fully forgotten. Oh no, I didn't even have it like queued up or anything. So silly, so silly. Oh, you know what's funny? Billy pinged. Thank you. Popped in here by coincidence. Nice to meet you. Oh, it's nice to meet you too. Yeah. Shape language easy. Yeah, say shape language. Selma, you're not late. You're never late. Lose attendance policy. Don't you worry. Gotti, thank you for following too. Let me, because I also forgot. Let me Twitter post because I forgot also. I don't know why that slipped my mind today. Here we go. Get everything updated. Let's see. Wiggly mushroom hair. Oh, I broke my tracking. Whoops, fix that. What are you drawing today? We're doing iterative drawing, so I'm not drawing anything in particular. We're just drawing. We're just drawing. We're learning a drawing technique for practicing here today. Trying to check if the viewers are paying attention. Clearly, you guys are. Discord bots can detect when stream is live, which can be quite useful. I've actually tried 2 different webhooks and a bot, and none of them worked. I tried, I just couldn't get it. If EG ever does a cooking stream, which I doubt there'll be Linguigi. Potion, you're a genius. Linguigi. Not Linguigi. Oh, that's so funny. That's so funny. Yeah, just in a house and a void for right now. We're just practicing composition right now. We're feeling out what works for composition. Where we kind of felt out, okay, flat, even on thirds, still kind of boring. High up, kind of weird. House bigger, interesting. Diagonal, adds a lot to it. We can try different shapes of the house, we can crop the house, we can put it up and down, left and right, it's different scale. You certainly cooked on that one, that's true. You know what's so funny? If I was soup, I guess it would be like a linguine soup, maybe. Linguigi soup? The Italians will be proud. It's me, I'm Italians, I'm proud. What if the background's upside down? There was a character or something right side up? Could be, yeah, here, wait, this is the other thing. Why do we even have to draw this upside right? We can iteratively draw and say, is it more interesting if we do the scene upside down? What if upside down house? Is that interesting? What does that bring to the party? You would be a cheddar broccoli soup? Yeah, tag yourself. What kind of soup would you be? I'm trying to practice iterative drawing. Glad you caught it. Hey, there you go. Australia. I guess it is Australia. Last one is house, no horizon. Wait, for real, you're Italian? I am, yes. Do you do personal paid drawing tutoring? I don't currently know. Also, thank you for the bits. I don't do it right now. I don't enjoy doing redlining, unfortunately, all the time, which is what that winds up being most of the time. But maybe down the line I could. Perhaps. Steven's giving something running and crashing into a house. Yeah, Billy, I could make you animate. We could animate this. Why is my hand tracking? For some reason it was tracking my hand, even though my hand was not there. Lost in the house dimension. Yeah, or also, you know, we're doing sideways things here. What if this is like insanely steep and our house is like here? That's also kind of interesting, right? Where we've kind of felt through all the different ways we can stick just a house on a horizontal plane with a viewpoint line. Yeah, sideways house. Yeah, there's a bunch of different ways. You can go like this. But we can get very surrealist with it. You can get it very strange also. The house is hot glued. House on the side of the wall. Yeah, hang on. House on the side of the wall. Which, that'll read kind of crazy depending on what you want. That could be kind of interesting. And then, you know, we can keep doing things of like, oh, would it be cooler if we did house on a steep slope, but we cut this all the way over here? And had our house all the way over there on this crazy steep slope, as opposed to being, you know, closer to that corner, we put it closer to the other corner. And we just keep feeling through more things. House on a lake, see, that's getting more complicated. That's the next step, house is going to fall. They're all gonna fall. And you can change direction, you can change how close things are. You could make it so that, like, you know, it's literally just this also to test and see how that feels for interest or something. Our house in the middle of our house. Yeah. Hi, Damien. How are you? Thank you for stopping by. Dr. Seuss. Yeah, we can do some crazy Dr. Seuss architecture here. Plain square house. Yeah. You know what? I haven't really been doing the houses that are different shapes. No roof. Yeah, you could just leave a square house. We could do like one of these, just like, look, it's a hotel now. Is this more interesting? Good, hope you're well. Thanks. I'm glad to hear you're well too. House in the middle of our house meme. Yeah. Yeah. Or we could do like a ranch style house where, like, you know, we've got our horizontal thing here, and maybe we have like one of those houses that are really like long and kind of flat, but still like a house maybe. How rich are we if we can't afford a roof? Are we rich? I don't know if we're rich around these parts. My house is like the size of a Polly Pocket house, so I don't need a lot of money for that. Those sets go for like $15, $20, I think. Very affordable to be this small. Draw your house, you live in the roof. Yeah, so proportionally, this is where YouTube chat is, and then this is where Twitch chat is. Ceiling or bottom. House with fox ears. Okay, you're getting a little out there. We're getting a little out there. We're doing this for composition. We're not trying to character design the house. There's a movie about that, downsizing. Oh, interesting, interesting. He lives in a Polly Pocket house. It's canon now. It was kind of canon before. Baroque drew me like a Polly Pocket set almost. It was really cute. Like my own little like thing to live inside of. What is it? Is this what's called thumbnailing? This is also, what I'm doing here is also thumbnailing, but it's more than thumbnailing. We're iterating on it because we're analyzing each one before we move to the next to say, what can we change about this to make it more interesting? What can we change that makes it more interesting? Where we were saying, okay, what if we try making it sideways? What if we try moving it up? What if we try moving it down? It would just be thumbnailing if we weren't like thinking our way through it. We were just doing things at random, just whatever, but we're analyzing. We're thinking, okay, this didn't work. Why didn't this work? Didn't work because horizontal. We can add diagonal and that'll change that. That helps it. Why didn't this work? Oh, too close, too close. We can back off on how close the house is. Yeah. It'd be perspective with the houses, I see. VTuber model design sort of reminds you of Epic Mickey game series. Really? I haven't heard that one before. That's surprising. I've heard people think I look like Splatoon, but I've never heard Epic Mickey before. That game scared me as a kid, I'll tell you that. Curved horizon line? Yeah, there you go. Silent Night, exactly. We can say, okay, diagonal works, but what if we try something else instead? What if we try a curved horizon line? And we can say, okay, we'll curve it right in the center and put the house right on the center of this hill. I'm terrible at drawing houses, I'll tell you that. That's definitely more interesting than when we drew it in the center before, wherever that was that we drew it before in the center. But we can then also say, okay, what if we, you know, we could keep this centered, keep our arc here centered, and draw the house over here somewhere. Whoops, that's not really where I wanted it. But you know, that feels kind of interesting and engaging. Yeah, fisheye lens. House below the horizon line. You could, but that's the whole thing. We're going to look at things and say, what works in an interesting way? Moving things up and down from the middle seems to. So we could do, you know, if we have our arc really low and then the house below center. You could also say, oh, we can combine, we know that diagonals work nicely. We know that off-center house works nicely and the arc works nicely. So we could go for all three of those. We could do off-center arc, off-center house, and we found out that the house looks cooler when it's above or below the center. So then that's kind of interesting. Gonna go? Don't worry about it, Katsune. Go take care of yourself. I don't consider this raid and running by any means. That's not the thing that bothers me anyway. Thank you for stopping by and trusting me with your fellas. I hope you enjoy your shower and food. Anybody else who came in with Katsune too, if you guys need to do things like taking care of yourselves, do it. I appreciate it if you want to stay. I'll always appreciate it, but taking care of yourself comes first, so go for it. Also, thank you, Iron Cinema Roll, for following. What'd you miss in the last 15-ish minutes? More houses, mostly just more houses. Wiggly Hill, like it's not a single curve. Could do that. We're definitely adding some complexity doing things like that. We're like, yeah, you know, you could do wiggly, and then we can put our house on here. That's kind of interesting. We're adding more shape. We've centered the house. But we just keep doing this over and over and over again as you kind of work out what works. And we've taken the mental notes of all the things that make things more interesting. We're gonna talk about it in terms of like subject and positioning, where we've learned that putting the subject on one of those kind of third areas where it's either above or below the horizon line and it's off center feels better. So that's the first thing. The second thing we've learned is that straight line all the way across is okay. Horizontal fully is okay. But you know what's better? Diagonals. Diagonals are more interesting. So there's a second thing we've kind of figured out here. The next thing that we kind of came to was that it's more interesting to add a little bit more shape to that line, where if we add an arc, that can also help it, or add a little bit of movement to it. That also helps it, right? Let me do my stretch. Rule of thirds, it is, but we're kind of proving the reason why that works. We're kind of working through it visually to see why that is and why that works. Hi, Lupus. Yeah. Really nice you're going with this stuff like composition, because I really felt you need to work on it. Yeah. It's good to practice it. This is just an example too. We're not only going to do composition for this. Thumbnailing is the art version of doing math proofs. Exactly. So we're thumbnailing, we're doing our math proofs, we're proving why things work. Not to be confused with the rule of three. Yeah, rule of three is its own other thing. Which is so silly that they're called different things. Is that different? Yeah, rule of three is for if you're placing objects, it'll feel natural if you have 3 or more. Strong suggestion of thirds doesn't exactly roll off the tongue. Yeah, rule of thumb of thirds. Yeah, fun experience, yeah. So then you could keep trying other things to say, okay, you know, this kind of works. What if we have multiple hills? You know, instead of just having 1 hill, we can have 2 hills and then put the house here. Is that more interesting? To have like 2 shapes? You can do overlap of, is it more interesting? You know, we've tried that. Would it be more interesting if we had, I'm kind of running out of space here. Let me move these. I didn't do a very good job keeping everything the same size, but we're just thumbnailing, so it doesn't matter. Move these over. Would it be better if we did like this and we did like, oh, here's a hill. Wait, hang on. Do like a hill and then you put your house on the hill, but there's actually a bigger hill behind it. And I'm not gonna shade the house in this time. The house is gonna stay light as opposed to being dark like the hills are. Is that interesting? Oh, see, that's kind of interesting. So we're getting contrast from it. Yeah, more depth, bring the house forward. So we can see another thing that works is overlap and contrast, and we can see why. Yeah, so rule of thumbs, yeah. Yeah, my thumbs rule all here. Yeah, so we're kind of working through the different things that make composition work better, work smarter. And we're figuring out why, we're figuring out how, we're figuring out all the angles for it. You guys are fighting over my glasses again, I see. And so we could keep doing that for this house, or we could take this like a step in maybe a further direction, or even for the house we were doing it. That was only doing it horizontally. What about doing it vertically? We could place, you know, we could do the horizontal with a house here. We could do, you know, we were doing diagonals. We could put your house here. How does making it vertical change all of those things? And we can go back through and think our way through all of those things and say, oh, you know, this is actually kind of interesting with it being so vertical and having that horizontal line. This works better than it worked horizontally. That helps also. Interesting, right? So then we go through and we can work through each one. Aster says, funny, you like the basic house horizon image. And that's the other thing we determine here is part of why doing this exercise also helps is it helps you devise your own sort of sensibility about how you like art and how you want your style to read and what things you prefer. So for me, this comes in where I draw like my circles. I'm not drawing circles when I draw circles. I'm drawing horrible octagons because I don't like drawing circles the way I do. Other people won't like this. They'll be like, what are you doing? But for me, through doing that sort of iteration, I found that I enjoy doing this better because it's faster, it's easier on my injury, and it just works better. At least it has shape, yeah. And you can keep doing this for any and all the things you think. So yeah, drawing circles is pain, that's true, it is. Dirt track across the paddock kind of looks like a farmhouse with empty landscape. Yeah, that's where I'm going to next is so what I do next if I'm teaching composition through iteration is that we can make it more complicated. We can start by making a landscape that includes more elements. So we can say, okay, we're gonna have a sun and land and a house. And maybe we could have like mountains or a lake or a path be a final element that they all have to include. So we're gonna say, okay, if I'm going to do a house and a sun and all those things, we could do, you know, horizontal. You know, we kind of liked the arcs before. We kind of liked some overlap before. So like, you know, we were saying mountains. Maybe we could do like, you know, we've got a mountain range off here in the distance. We kind of determined diagonals work kind of nicely. We determined we like a house that's off center. And then the mountains provide some contrast, and you know, maybe we put the sun up here. That's kind of interesting for composition. That's not too bad. We're applying the things that we found previously in just drawing the house to drawing a more complicated scene. And we can say, okay, that scene that I've just drawn here, you know, that works kind of well. What if, you know, what if we put the sun lower on the horizon? What if we make things more sloping? Or what if we raise things? What if we really drop this down here? And maybe the mountains are on the other side. Maybe the mountains kind of cascade down over here, and then the house is here where the gap is. Do we like that? And then maybe like the sun peeks out from behind things in here or something. You know, I don't know if this feels as harmonious because the overlap kind of feels good here. So we can say, okay, don't like how this works, don't like how this works. We can try something else. We can try something else. Iterative drawing for composition? Yeah, we're doing it for composition right now, but we're gonna do it for other things too. Composition for me is just the easiest, like, first thing to teach. Your eye's glitching out? Is it glitching out or my frog blinking? There's a difference. Addicted to puns, you're gonna overprose. Oh, Zephyrin, that's good. That's a good one. That's pretty good, Zephyrin. You guys are silly. Yeah, puns are okay as long as they're on topic, So, you know, thinking about our arcs and thinking about our mountains, you know, we could do, what about mountains foreground and arc background? Just to be silly. So, you know, mountain foreground, arc background, house. That's interesting. This feels kind of crazy. Don't quite know what's going on, but this feels kind of crazy, right? Thank you for following Vulpix. Petition for Linguiji redeems? What would Linguiji be? Just throwing noodles at me? Oh god, you're pouring water all over your overhead projector? No, 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 it's okay. Oh wait, I am going like this, huh? Let me take my sippy of drink. Thank you, Mr. Duck Daddy. Castle in the shape of a house? Yeah. Oh yeah, we were saying put a sun in here. And then, okay, maybe, you know, that's weird. Mountains do go in background. Maybe I found the best one first. We could say, okay, what if we put our hill up higher and then this kind of mirrors a similar shape and then the house is like down here. That's kind of crazy too. You know, maybe like sun up here or something. That's kind of crazy. But we're just feeling through all the different options you could be. Ree found the portal. That's fair. I'm always surprised Ree finds the portal and then does not use any of the abilities of Twitch. Ree never throws things at me or does those things. Dragon Ball World House, a little prince. Yeah. You can feel through all of the sort of options that having all those extra elements adds in here. We're like, you know, maybe this is really low and we have our house down here then. And then the mountains are much bigger in the composition where they take up much more of it. And then maybe just the sun peeks out from behind over there. That gives a very different feeling than the other ones, but it feels still kind of engaging. Hey, okay, there you go. Reese redeemed something. Okay, everybody's redeeming stuff now. Tonji and Bulgy. Okay, okay. Maybe what's the point of going on Twitch then? I think Ree just wants to harass you, perhaps. Perhaps, maybe, Ree just wants to give you all a hard time. Yeah. Yeah. We forgot them exist. How do you forget they exist? We use a lot of them around here. Maybe I'll figure out a Linguiji option where you can throw spaghetti at me. That's so silly. Wait, actually, hang on. So this actually is related to Sunday. Sunday, I have a redeem making stream, where, oh my gosh, wait, I think I know exactly how I would make spaghetti. we have a redeem making stream on Sunday, where we're gonna build some redeems that you guys can use, because I can do the modeling and coloring of them and set them up in Vignon so you can see how that all works. A chef hat and throwing spaghetti, yeah. Put that, if you stick that in stream related, stick that in the stream related one, because that'll be for, Sunday. Maybe. Yeah. So we've kind of felt through what the options are here, and some people are saying, oh, like adding a path. Okay, for this composition here. If we add a path could go like that. What does that add? Versus, you know, what if we have a diagonal path instead? You could try a diagonal path and say, that's kind of crazy. What if we try a zigzaggy, like arcing path? Oh, that's getting kind of interesting. What if we made it more extreme? Whoa, that's kind of fun. So you kind of work through all the options of, you go to your first idea and then say, how could I change this first idea to make it more interesting, more different? Kelly go new and late to class, don't mind you. You're never late, you're never late. We have a very loose attendance policy here. You're never late. you arrive precisely when intended, don't you worry. But yeah, one issue you have when you ran into iterative drawing so far is you're improving in one direction, making bird faces, but feel lost when it comes to where else I should expand your practice, be anatomy, shading, composition, proportion. I mean, you can try, but that's the thing. If one of those things doesn't feel right to you, that is the thing you should iterate on. If it doesn't feel right, looking at maybe your anatomy, you can try, if you're drawing your bird, be like, okay, here's my bird head, here's the body, here's the feet, tail. Okay, that doesn't feel right. What if the head was smaller and the body was bigger and the tail was that size? Okay, that's kind of weirder. What if the head is bigger and more proportional to the body, like similar in size to the body? That might feel cuter if you're going for a cute style. What if for anatomy of the bird, we draw the tail much bigger? We kind of like that, so maybe we'd keep a big head, big body, but like tail much bigger. Maybe not that big. Tail much bigger. And maybe maybe the beak needs to get bigger, or maybe other things. You play around with your proportioning and the anatomy of it to see what works most comfortably for you and what you enjoy the most here. So that's the thing to practice with it. So what we will also do, because we're doing these little composition things, is we could take this a step further and, you know, say we like one of these compositions. I think I'll just take the first one. Let me copy this. This applies to things beyond just composition too, which is kind of what you're getting at, which is that, you know, we have this, and I'm actually going to make a bunch of them. And I'm going to move them. And we could apply it to something like, say, we want to practice coloring. We've kind of iterated what we like of this, but then we can maybe try a bunch of different ways of coloring this to see what we like best for how to handle that. So I'm just duplicating a bunch of these. There we go. So for coloring these, we can say, okay, let's just pull some random colors. You know, we're gonna think local color of like, oh, okay, grass is probably, let me get a layer under here. Grass, that's probably green, right? Yeah, we'll make the grass green, and we make the mountains like brown gray, because it's kind of what we would probably first think of for mountains. I'm not drawing this very cleanly. And then, you know, sky's blue. We're going with like the first thought that you have when you're drawing something, which is, oh yeah, green grass, blue sky, mountains, brown, make the sun yellow. Now we're gonna draw that and we're gonna be like, well, that doesn't feel so great. This feels really strange. So as we're iterating it, we could say, okay, what happens if we take this that we've just done, let me move this over here, and change the sky. What if we make the sky more blue, a little bit more desaturated, and maybe like lighter? What happens if we do that? Actually, I didn't even make it that much lighter. What if we do this? Is this gonna feel better? Maybe this feels a little better, but you know, I'm not sold about that. What if we try and making, you know, I like that sky better, the sky feels a little bit nicer. What if we try making the grass is really bold. Maybe make the grass a little more desaturated and shift the grass to be a little closer in undertone to what the sky is. Okay, this color feels like it might mesh a little bit better with how we've drawn the sky. The mountains are still kind of strong, so maybe we copy this and paste it and we try changing the color of the mountains too, but you don't have to copy and paste these things. 50 Shades of all blue, so it's all colors, yes it is. You don't even have to copy and paste them. You can say, this is when you're filling in your drawing and you're saying, okay, this color that I've filled it in here, I don't like. So like this might work a little bit differently. Or I say, okay, that's fun. Sun, lighter, maybe that's one option that works, where it wasn't our first thoughts, we've kind of felt our way through what's going on, but this is still a very basic way of doing it. What if What if the sky wasn't blue? What if the sky was a completely other color? What if the sky, instead of being this blue, was like this like purple color? Or like this like pink? How does that feel? This is gonna give us a very different atmosphere. Is it gonna be more interesting? Are we going to enjoy it more? Okay, if we make the sky this pink, the mountains don't look too bad, but the grass suddenly doesn't work anymore. It doesn't make sense. So, you know, we kind of noticed as we were doing this, we were desaturating things a little bit, and some things need to be darker or lighter. So like maybe we take this green and say, ah, because we made the sky warmer, we probably also need to make the grass warmer. We can make the grass warmer, and it might feel like it fits a little better. Like that feels a little bit more like a harmonious blue. Fire season sky? Yeah, this is what California looks like. With the gender reveal. Oh, you guys are all on the same page there. Demonstration about color synergy and expression. Yeah. Yeah. Can I just stream and the mushroom hair's gone? Oh yeah, I was bald for a minute there. It's back. Average Squeiji stream. And then for the mountains, like, you know, everything else we made a little warmer, we might need to make the mountains warmer too. And you can kind of feel out those color relationships to kind of figure out what things make sense together, where we're all shifting the colors together. Maybe the sun needs to be warmer then too. Maybe a little brighter. And kind of feel your way through how you would want to color things. And is this more interesting than this is? Oh yeah, for sure. This is so much more interesting. This tells us a story. This tells us something is happening. This is not just the basic, oh, it's a landscape that you've drawn. This is what's happening. Is this a California wildfire? Is something going crazy? Is this a magical canyon, as people are saying? There's more things being told to us here. And we can say, okay, we've noticed that the first thought of colors, the local thought of color of, you know, you think grass green, mountain brown, sky blue, that doesn't always work. Try changing one thing and then modify other things to it. Hi, Sticker! Nice Sticker Mata! If the sun to move before you go back to digging up crabgrass. Oh man. Good luck digging up crabgrass. I hope it cools down for you. It's been really hot where I am too. I understand. So I recommend to take physical notes while iterative drawing for what you do and don't like. Maybe. I take physical notes, but I am a like post-it note person. My desk at any given time, I've got post-it notes literally everywhere around me that have some of those kinds of notes. But to some degree also, as you do these things more and more, you just kind of, you learn to intuitively apply them. Where me, I intuitively apply this color theory thing without thinking about it at this point, because I did it so many times and took those notes and did it intentionally a lot of times. Now I just do it without having to think about it. Jokes on you, E.G. I like the colors too. Should be all shades of blue, but you could do it all shades of blue. All shades of blue is probably going to be interesting in a different way than something like that was, which is our first thought. Warm everywhere, it's warming on a global sense. You literally live in California? I am so sorry. I am so sorry. We could say, oh, okay, the thing we thought when we changed this was that we made the sky warmer, and therefore we thought, okay, we can push everything else warmer. What if we instead push everything cooler, where we take this color and say, okay, what if the sky almost has like a green undertone instead, where the sky is this kind of like aqua teal color. Fill this in. And then what if, you know, the grass is more green, so then we're gonna push the grass even greener with this. And then the mountains are gonna come back to being cooler. And we can say, oh, this is also another color palette that kind of works. And you could do the same for how dark things are. You could say, oh, okay, these mountains, they look okay, but would they look better if I made them darker? Would that do better for the composition? Or, okay, I've made them darker, but now they feel a little bit weird. What if I made them less saturated? Or if you don't like it, you could do the opposite and say, what if the grass was lighter or darker? And you can continue to just kind of feel your way through the colors and figure out what is the angle that kind of feels the most comfortable with them for you. This is where, if you have the ability to do like a hue slider in your program, that could be more interesting. Fist bump of solidarity to California, British Canada, or BC, British Columbia, Canada? Let the world chill out for once? Yeah. Black sun too. Yeah, you could make the sun real crazy. You could do anything that you want to do to make it feel more interesting. You're gonna kind of intuitively decide, oh, outside landscape scenes, yeah, it's interesting when we have them close to reality, but maybe it's more interesting when we push them further away from reality. Maybe in your art style, that's the thing that you like to do. You like to push it further away. Or maybe you're somebody who says, no, actually, I like this default, like, kind of saturated, uncanny feeling here. And that's kind of what matters, is that you're going to determine which things you like, so you can lean into them, which things feel good to you, versus what things don't. Yeah, we could do like an uncanny demon realm, where like, oh, you know, maybe the sky is like dark. We didn't really do much in the way of making things dark. So maybe the sky is super dark. And then if the sky is super dark, what do we do with the rest of the colors? So maybe we can say, okay, we know that since the sky is kind of warm, we kind of intuitively figured out that having the other things kind of pushed in a little bit of a warmer direction might help. So like the green, if we make the green like warmer, and we desaturated the sky too, maybe it would be like this color for the hellscape. And maybe that's not even warm enough for the screen. Maybe that green needs to be even warmer. Or alternatively, what does it feel like if we make the green way cooler and bluer? This feels a little bit more like weird Halloween-esque. But I think I liked this one better. And then, okay, our mountains. What if the mountains were, okay, they're a little warmer, a little like that color maybe? Crazy like pink? Perhaps? No, I don't like that color. We can keep messing around with them to see where you encounter a combination of things you like for your hellscape. And you know, maybe these mountains actually need to be super dark. Maybe they need to be darker than the background is to feel really ominous. Yeah, maybe that's it for this. And you just keep changing things, yeah, to figure out what feels the best for the drawing. Suspicious mountains? Yeah, these mountains are a little bit suspicious now. Offsetting colors naturally interesting people since they're used to seeing natural colors in their place brings interesting elements. Yeah, exactly. Yellow moon. Yeah, you could make like a yellow moon in the light there. And then this has a completely different read and feeling to us than this does, where we've made the piece stronger by giving it a mood with the color. There's a tone to the color, where this is kind of just default atmosphere. This is kind of creepy and canny, and like this is like, oh, there's definitely something wrong. This is maybe an even more bright, cheerful day than we're thinking. So we're adding things by kind of working through how we're applying color. The real business. Thank you for following. Sorry, I had to stop and look at that for a while. Making Arizona? Yeah, I've reinvented Arizona. So this is more so just applying it to composition. You know, maybe for this last one, I say, okay, this one that we've drawn here, what would happen if we take our nighttime scene, our kind of creepy hill scene, and what if all these were cooler instead? Would that feel more interesting? We're like, maybe the sky is like this. And then maybe the grass is like this. It's quite blue. And then maybe these are like almost in this range, where they kind of are green or something. And you can keep playing around with, those actually aren't dark enough. Is this too dark maybe? A little lighter. But that was me just doing an iterative thing right there, where I said, that's not right. That doesn't feel right. Why doesn't that feel right? Maybe it's too dark, because that wasn't standing out enough. And we get a different vibe from that too. This almost feels like nighttime on the lake. Slasher mountain range, yeah. Reminds me when you were forced to make a landscape composition for portfolio. I was also forced to do that at one point in undergrad. Yeah, iterative drawing, yeah, trial and error type things. Basic drawing tutorial, scene composition, we're doing some colors right now. But we don't just have to apply it for composition, because that's mostly what I've been doing it here for. We can apply it to learning to draw anything, and learning how you want to draw something also. So it's not just learning to draw something just based on making it so super duper uber, like one-to-one with reality. It could be figuring out what way you want to simplify something for yourself. Oh, and the other thing I was gonna say too when we were looking at these is like, if you're rendering them too, that's like, I guess taking it a step further is, you know, if I were to want to render this, would I render this, you know, this is just a sketch right now, would I render this, you know, if we do one of them, let me just steal one of these. I like this pink one. This will be the final thing I do on the composition before we just learn something. Not that we're not learning now, but me. Hang on. Copy this, undo that, paste, and then turn those off. There we go. Okay. So then if you're also thinking about rendering, you could say, oh, okay, what is the most interesting way we could render this? Which might be, you know, me. I render things in flat colors, where I would just say, I would just clean this up, all flat edges. Maybe this house is like this, because I didn't really give the house a color. This is like this. And you know, we just make it all flat colors, and maybe that's fine. But how would this look if instead of making it just all flat colors that we've done for this, what would it look like? You know, this is all just in a flat brush. What if instead you did it with something that has more texture, like this pencil, where, you know, we kind of sketch this blue over other things, and you get a little bit of that like opacity through the edge, where it's not like perfect, it's a little looser, it's a little sketchier. Do we like this better? Could it feel more interesting to kind of be a little bit looser and have this brush that has a little bit more dynamic range and opacity to it? This is kind of getting into brush theory, which is something that a lot of digital artists like to think and talk about. I don't always subscribe to brush theory, but I know that it can have an impact on what a drawing looks like, where, you know, this is gonna feel a little bit looser maybe, which maybe that's something you like, maybe that's something you want. I tend to be content not doing that. I tend to be content with keeping everything really flat and clean. But do you see, this is giving a different feeling than that. And to some people, this might feel a lot more interesting, a lot better. Taking your lessons very seriously, staring at your model for 5 minutes. Your dog's would be a phenomenal artist. Billy, thank you for making me RGBG. Quick thought, would you rate Azure Lane or Blue Archive characters? They're kind of built, made different and stuff. People have suggested, a lot of people have suggested Azure Lane. Maybe, I don't know. Perhaps. Die-hard texture brush user for digital because it feels nicer to use. Yeah. And then, you know, here we can keep, you know, if I were to render this, I keep losing my move tool. You know, if I were to render this, I have a painting brush that I love to use. I can't find it. Not that one, this one. I have this oil pastel painting brush that I love. Where if I were to render this using my oil pastel like painting brush, instead of using the other things where, you know, this brush looks like that, by the way. What does this add for me to do all of it in this brush instead? Is that gonna feel more interesting to me? Am I going to enjoy how that likes better, or how that looks better? Or am I gonna prefer my super clean method of doing it? And then you could also get into, oh, do I like it better if I do line art? Do I like it better if I keep it lineless? Do I like it better if X, Y, Z, other thing? But do you see how different of a vibe this gives? This is a little more smokier. Feels a little looser in a way almost, but we're working through all the different things and seeing, why does texture work? Texture gives a little bit more interest. There's a little more variation. So that maybe that's why that works. Does this one work? This one feels a little too airbrushed. It's too soft, maybe because this brush doesn't have hard enough edges. So maybe that doesn't quite work the way I would want it to. Maybe I like this better, and that's the way that I would decide to go further and continue working into this kind of rendering style. Ooh, is it a default brush or did you get it somewhere? In the Discord, I have all of the brushes that I use linked in the resources page. This brush that I have, this oil one, is the only brush that I use that I actually isn't free. It's like, it's clippy points on Clip Studio, but it's not bad. Soft brush looks like a foggy morning. Yeah. It's giving just a different feeling, essentially. Where if that's the feeling that you want, we've kind of iteratively determined that, you know, we've learned that this softer brush gives like an early morning soft feeling. What if we do it with an airbrush? Which is TikTok's favorite thing to tell you not to do. What happens if we do it with an airbrush? What does that feel like? That's gonna give us probably a similar like early morning feeling. But do you see how different the edge quality that gives is? Do we like that better or worse than the oil pastel brush I'd been using? And you just continue to kind of work through these things. This is one way of determining your personal style too, through iterative drawing. Where then we can also say, oh, what happens maybe if we do a combination of these things? You know, maybe I really like how this looks for the foreground, but I really like how this back here looks for the background, how this airbrush looks for the background. Then you say, oh, okay, we can combine these things and see if that's better than they were individually, right? And you just keep working through what potential options there are until you find the option that you feel is like the kind of like, aha, oh, this works, this feels good. Typically use the default gouache and dry gouache for shading and coloring. I use default brushes for everything other than digital painting. The only thing, the digital painting is the only thing I use a non-default brush for. I use a default brush for line art, I use a default brush for flats. But then we can take this and say, oh, okay, you know, maybe I kind of, let me paste the other one here, but maybe, let me merge, oops. Merge those. Maybe I like the foreground of this. Move this here, but maybe I would like it with the background of this. Hang on, I gotta make sure I'm like selecting everything properly here. Where it's a little bit looser in the background, and then, you know, maybe because we've done that. Hello, can I move this, please? What? What happened? Hello? Copy? There we go. And maybe, you know, we like this combination where, you know, the background's a little bit looser, so it feels like there's a little bit more depth. And then you can note that down in your mind and say, oh, okay, foggier background makes it feel like there's more depth to the drawing. That's why it works when you see people do that. It feels like there's more depth. And you just see all the different effects here, right? How important are references in iterative drawing? So this is where I differ from Sycra, which is that Sycra does not like using references for this. I am somebody, I don't have aphantasia, but I am not good at rotating the apple in my mind. If I were to tell you what an apple is in my mind, an apple in my brain, if I'm thinking of an apple, is like a this, that my brain goes, apple. It's not a shape. I can force my brain to make it look like an apple in my mind if I like really like try. Maybe it looks like this in my mind, but it's not a very accurate apple. Despite the fact that I have looked at a lot of apples. I actually looked at an apple for a very long time last night as well. We're like, yeah, maybe this is an apple in my mind, and I can force it to take this shape. So I'm somebody who really needs references when I'm drawing. So I use them. Great apple, thanks. Thanks. You're drawing an apple right now? Yeah, if some people can make an apple in their mind and rotate it and do all these cool things, I can't do that. I'm very reliant on using references. And so I think references have their place in iterative drawing. We're actually going to use one when we do our next step of this, which is, these were just kind of working through the different aspects of that. You know, maybe I'll just do one more example of, you know, working through how we might want to do line art for this, perhaps, where maybe, you know, we try and do line art with that pencil brush, and we think about some of the things we were doing where this pencil brush, if I do line art for everything in, you know, one hard, solid line with no variation in weight, no variation in thickness or darkness or any of that. How does that feel? Let me copy and paste this one so I can use it. I'm gonna use the one that I use as my default. I am a flat colors person. There we go. What if instead of doing line art that way, what if I do line art with a clean brush, like a smooth G-pen type brush? Do I like this better when they're all the same thickness? Honestly, I'd probably make that thicker too. And that's another iteration here, is I've looked at that and said, I don't like that. Use a thicker brush. I'm not being very accurate. But do I like this better than using the pencil brush? Actually, right now, I kind of think I like that pencil brush better for this, for the vibe it gives. Or I think that works a little better. So maybe I'll go back to using that pencil and say, okay, does it work better or worse for me to do that, but with variation in line thickness, where, you know, maybe it's thinner at the top and thicker at the bottom on the sun, and, you know, we can show a little bit more like weight on some of these lines. Is that gonna feel better? Is that gonna be something we like, or do we like it better without that, all of that? We're like, yeah, here, add a little bit of like thickness to these ones, a little bit of darkness, more calligraphic line. Do we like that? And then create our horizon. Whoops, I didn't really draw the horizon in the right place. Whoopsie. Thank you for following, Dark Starry. Love watching your YouTube videos. Gotta catch one of your streams. Thank you for coming, CKM Rabbit. I appreciate you coming here. Posted your Squeiji redeeming suggestions. Made you a chef hat. Oh, thank you. I'll take a look at it towards the end. But like, I could say I like this better than I like that. I think this feels like it works better. So having more line variation feels stronger, right? Oh, hi, Cable Gore. Hi, Kaneko too. Hi. So your art skills cannot create one-to-one what you imagine. See, that's tough too. You know, rough to capture the figure better without everything. It's a bit wonky looking. That's fair. That's fair. Need to fully visualize shapes in 3D, but struggle with flat silhouettes. There's a variety of understanding things from the mind, but you know, this was just working through a couple more variations of how we could, you know, think about iterating on how we would decide to do line art for something like this. Now, here is how we learn to draw things. Here's how we learn to draw things. Thing that you have never drawn before. What do you guys want me to draw? Is there like a silly thing I could draw? I do shrimp for the for the thumbnail because I learned how to draw shrimp doing this. You'd be surprised, I draw shrimp relatively often. Make your apple in your mind. Do we have any particular things that we would like to learn to draw? Mad Libs? No. Like a thing, like a fish or a shrimp fairy elbows. Like a Lolita bonnet? Oh man, that might be a lot. Draw a donut? That's very Blender basics of you. Car, squid, bear. Shrimp fairy with elbows? What? Dwarf lantern shark. These are all so specific. A pufferfish, a catapult. Kind of want worms. Worms. You know, I kind of feel maybe Xbox controller. Shrimp frying rice, cuttlefish, fish cracker, your glasses. Catapult is fun. Catapult might be kind of tricky, but we maybe. Dragonfly with a party hat. I kind of want to draw squid. Somebody said squid. I kind of want to do a squid. So let me find a squid. I think a squid would be fun. So let me find a nice reference of a squid. I'm gonna find an image of a squid. And I'm gonna start by drawing it, kind of trying to draw it one-to-one with what the squid actually looks like. Oh man, some of these images are kind of scary of squids, actually. Can I get a not scary squid? Oh, thank you for the glue, Selma. Vampire squid? Let's see, let me pull a squid here. These are like such uncanny things of squids. I might actually end up pulling, for a reference, a drawing of a squid because all these photos of squids are not posed especially nice. We're like, oh wait, here's a squid. I'm gonna rotate it though, because I don't want him to be in this direction. Wait, hang on. Yeah, squid. Here's our squid. Here's our squid. So, when I'm doing iterative drawing to try and learn to draw something, if you've never drawn a squid before, no offense to the squid community, y'all suck at posing. It's to the people who take photos of squids. They take photos of squids where their like limbs are all stuck on top of each other and doing things weird. Cuttlefish is a friendlier cousin. I see. 1-800, are you squidding me? So when I'm learning to draw something, if I'm drawing iteratively or in other ways, often my first step is to trace it. Listen, tracing is a tool. We can learn to trace. We can trace something. We're never going to use this as a finished product, and we're never going to stop here. You kind of trace it so that your brain kind of catalogs like, oh, there's this curve here, and we can see that this kind of slopes up in there. There's these shapes that come through here. What we're doing is we're getting our hand familiar. You know, this kind of arcs in and comes back out at the bottom. We're getting your hand and your brain familiar with the shape. Because I found that, you know, for as much as we can tell somebody to, oh, analyze it, look at it, observe the curvature of the squid. If you trace it first, copy is better though, right? Well, we're not going to use the tracing for anything. We're just using this as a tool to get used to it. We're going to get rid of this tracing immediately. It's just so we can feel the squid. We are touching the squid with our pencil right now. This works best for digital things. You can say, okay, because I'm drawing over this, I'm noticing that the eye sockets kind of bulge out a little bit and his eyes are kind of around the side. He's got these tentacles that come down and kind of come to points. He's got these two main ones that kind of have these little triangle bits in the front. And because I'm drawing over it to kind of feel it, my brain is getting familiar and my hand is getting familiar with these shapes. while I'm kind of cataloging how this guy works. So that is my first step, would be to do that. My next step is to just draw the squid. Just draw, just do it. Forehead, just draw the squid. Yeah, we're breaking down the shapes, we're practicing. We're practicing to become squids. Gonna get canceled for tracing with people not watching the full thing. I don't think that's gonna happen. You're a kid, now you're a squid. Oh, maybe I am a squid. So, you know, in having just drawn this, I kind of, you know, drawn over it. I can now say, okay, I noticed that, you know, this kind of shape at the top kind of arches out. I'm not drawing this to be accurate to it, or I'd be doing like all of my figure drawing exercise things of trying to make sure I'm being super accurate. I'm just trying to draw a squid. I'm not trying to draw one-to-one with this squid. I'm just trying to draw a squid. You know, we saw that this kind of like arcs out here and then down. And then he kind of has these like little eye bulge things down here, and then he has his little tentacles that come out, and they kind of have these little triangle things on the end. There's like 4 of them in the front. Nope, I didn't draw the triangle on that one. We're just doing it kind of quickly, and then the eyes kind of sit around the side of the head here. Oh, look at that and say, well, that looks kind of like a squid. And if you're trying to draw this to be one-to-one with what a squid 100% actually looks like, you'd probably just keep looking at this squid and keep doing a bunch more where you're like, okay, this doesn't work. We can iterate instead and say, okay, you know, I didn't slope those down enough maybe. So maybe we slope them down more, arc it. Oops, I didn't put these things in. Slope it down more, arc this in, up. So then by sloping it down, it looks a little better. I kind of made it a little bit too defined in those curves here, so we'll make it a little bit less defined. We'll just make it more round. Eye area, and then he's got his little like, weep, tentacle things. And if you're trying to draw a squid one-to-one with how a squid looks, that's fine. You can keep looking at this thing and keep trying to say, okay, what did I do here that doesn't quite look like this? You know, I didn't draw those things sloped enough. Maybe I made this too narrow. I've made it too wide here. And you can keep doing that and keep trying to draw squid one-to-one with a squid. But that's not the point here. The point here is not to draw a squid one-to-one with a squid. That's not how you best use a reference. The best way of using a reference is figuring out how to interpret the reference to be what you want it to be. Figuring out how to interpret it to get the vibe you want from it. So, you know, maybe in my art style, I want to draw things cuter. So what is gonna make this drawing of a squid look cuter? Like, this resembles a squid. Strange looking drawing of yourself. Are you guys calling this a self-portrait of me? What are you talking about? Alternate universe where I'm a squid VTuber? Squids are kind of inky. Rounder edges? Yeah, so we can say, okay, what if we just redrew this just with only making the edges rounder? Instead of me making all those sharp things, what if I just try and make everything rounded, where, you know, we'll just round everything out. Is this going to be a squid I'm happier with, where like we give like a eyes? And I'm already making other permutations too in my mind as I'm doing this, where I'm saying, you know, we like things with eyeballs. If we can see the eyes more. So I'm making the kind of eye bottom part bigger. I've made this wider as I'm working through saying, okay, what things did I not like about this? He feels too narrow. He doesn't feel cute enough because he's too narrow, too long. His tentacles feel a little bit too wobbly, so maybe we make them straighter so they're not as scary. These eyes kind of creep me out. So if I'm going to continue to permutate, continue to iterate on how to make a squid, maybe we say, okay, this thing at the top here, maybe if we make this bigger and we emphasize this shape at the top more. I kind of liked keeping it round, so maybe we'll keep it rounded. And I liked the shape I did for that one, so I'll see if I can keep it mostly the same. Whoops, that's a little crooked. And then, you know, eyeball thing. So like, maybe I don't like the eyes being attached to those edges there. We can simplify this and say, what if we like make his eyes on the front? Is that gonna be something we like? Is that gonna feel better? And then do his little arms. I can say, okay, I like this. I don't like those eyes. Those eyes are actually scary. So we can say, okay, we liked making the top part bigger and more rounded. Proportionally. Look like he's looking at you. Blooperification of a squid, yeah. Kind of like doing these things. This needs to still be a little bit long. We are blooperifying. We are doing that, yeah. post our little inky boys. If you guys are doing this with me, which you don't have to, you can put them in extra. I can make a thing for extra credit for them. But my extra credit for you guys at the end would be to would be towards picking your own thing to iterate on that you're learning to draw. So maybe, you know, if I make the head like this, maybe this whole thing against this edge is the eye, but then I draw the iris kind of towards against the bottom so it doesn't feel as scary. Kind of like that. I kind of like that. And then we get our, like, tentacles. Give them a little more wobble. Do you know, this is a squid that I'm kind of happy with this squid. And I kind of worked my way to being happy with this squid by thinking, okay, make it look more like a squid, make it more rounded. Where do we want the eyes to make them cuter? We made them bigger, but we figured out that the pupils were kind of weird. Make the pupils bigger, make it into a marketable plushie. Yeah, my style tends towards plushification. I'll say that. Yeah, I'm not trying to make him a marketable plushie, but my style tends towards me enjoying the way that looks. So I like the way that that looks. So for me to interpret this squid into my art style, I would interpret it that way by going through these kinds of steps to figure out what feels better to me. And maybe you're somebody who wouldn't want your squid to look like a marketable plush. Maybe, let me move the squid back up to the top row. Maybe you take this in a different direction. Maybe you're somebody who wants a sharper style. Maybe you want your squid to be a little creepy, your squid to be a little unsettling. So maybe we take the squid down here, and I'll do another row, and we'll put it through a couple different changes. Was that emote? Your emoticon, it killed it? Huh? Want to say you love the subtitles thing? Thank you, I'm glad. I'm hard of hearing, so I have to have the subtitles on when I watch anything, so I make sure that I have it here. Make it kind of like Eldritch Horror, maybe. More pointy. Yeah, my VTubery art style is this one. We're gonna work this one towards what my my printmaking art style is, which is much more angular. So, you know, squid. If I was drawing a squid, thinking about, like, okay, angles. We want to think about this squid with more angles, maybe. We want this squid to feel a little bit upsetting, maybe. Maybe we'll accentuate that, and then right angle everything. No curves, no curves. And then the eyes are kind of down here. Maybe making them triangles will make them creepier. I really didn't leave enough space for all the tentacles in here, but, you know, we can kind of get that idea and say, okay, this feels really stiff the way I've done it, making it only angles. So we might need to bring a little bit of curve back. And maybe this head is too big proportionally to how I've made this. Okay, we'll note all these changes, and then we'll draw another one, and we'll change those things where, you know, I kind of like the sharpness for this thing up here, but I don't know if I like it for this. So maybe we can have a little bit of curve here. And the squids also kind of have it where it's bigger on the bottom. And then, you know, a little bit of angle there, but I like kind of that shape under there. So maybe we can do more angles for the eye sockets, and then we'll transition back into a smoother shape for the tentacles, but then maybe they have little sharp things on the end. So we're kind of getting, you know, somewhere between on those shape languages. I'm not really doing as good of a job on these tentacles. And then, you know, I kind of liked how I drew those eyes there, but they're these kind of like scary triangles. But, you know, what if the triangles for the eyes were coming out from underneath the hat here, and, you know, we'll shade those in. How do we like that? Or do we like that better or worse? I think I like it worse, so I wouldn't even keep that. But, like, you know, maybe eyes go here. We're stylizing this in a different way. We're kind of working through it. Curse of Twitch? Oh no. There looks like a glove and a piping bag? What? Oh, this one? This guy looks silly. He's a little freaky. He's a little freaky. Is your chat box coded by Croneko? How'd you make your horizontal like that? Don't mind me sharing. Oh, my chat box, the bottom one is, it's Zaytree. It's Slime 2. The one on the top is a default Stream Elements one that makes it horizontal. I don't like the way the top one, the YouTube one is, but there's actually no other YouTube ones I could find that were horizontal, so what can you do? He looks traumatized. Yeah, this guy looks like I like wrapped my hand around him like this and like squeezed him. And his eyeballs are popping out like a little like toy. You know, little toys when you squeeze them and the eyes go out? Not gonna lie, you had a tiny heart attack opening the stream. I'm so sorry, Wordy. Sorry to affront you with Sorry to affront you with squids. Firmly grasp it. Yeah, firmly grasp your squid. We don't want to drop it. Hi, Laurie. A little disturbing. But, you know, if we're stylizing this to be creepier, maybe we need to lean into it being narrower and longer. This guy's still kind of wide, so maybe it doesn't feel that creepier. Zaytree, Slime 2, no, it's Zaytree. Z-A-Y-T-R-I? Zaytree, Slime 2. Unfortunately, hang on, my face tracking got lost. Sadly, it only works for Twitch. Slime 2 only works for Twitch right now, sadly. Boy, do I wish, I'm really hoping Zaytree will update it to work for YouTube, because right now it says it's in development for YouTube, but it hasn't yet. Hello, hope you folks are having a fun time learning. Thank you! I'm having fun, I'm drawing squids! Squids are fine to look sus for a split second? No! I get it, squids are a little phallic, maybe. He's not meant to be squished, his name should have started with S-Q-U-I. Hey, you're right! Squish and squid do start with similar letters. What is going on here? There we go. Ooh, my phone's dying. My phone's dying. Let me plug my phone in here. Oh, I broke my tracking again. What's going on here? I keep having tracking silliness today. I won't squish him too hard. I won't squish him too hard. But yeah, you know, as we're continuing to iterate through this, maybe he'll feel creepier. He'll feel a little bit more uncanny if I make him narrower. Wait, hang on. I didn't really do that right. Narrower, and maybe, you know, comes out like this, and maybe he's kind of long. And then maybe make these longer too, kind of in keeping with it, where he's got kind of like longer tentacles. And then still kind of like little eyes. And yeah, this feels a little more uncanny because I've made things longer, so we can say, oh, then maybe that's the correct direction to go with this. We gotta keep stretching the squid out. We're not gonna squish him, we're gonna stretch him actually. So then you could keep doing that more and more and more until you get it to a point where you're like, oh, I like this stylization of squid. This is creepy long squid versus cute short squid. Here, I'll do my stretch can and go, thank you. You're busy making Squiiji? Ah. But you could keep iterating through squids until you get to something that you're happy with. Hydrate? Yeah, here, let me take a sippy. Everybody's taking care of their mushroom streamer, thank you. There we go. Almost done with your squid, yeah. So you make changes, you redraw your squid, changing one or two things, and changing them until you get to a point with your squid, or your whatever it is you're drawing, that you're happy with. Until you get to a point where the squid is something where it feels like it makes sense in your style, it makes sense in the way you've drawn it, where it looks like a squid, but it's giving the vibe that you want, right? Added sparkles and roses to the squid? Yeah, Ree, that seems like a you thing to do. So that's fine, you can add sparkles to your squid. But just don't just draw one squid and be satisfied with the one squid you drew. Draw a couple of squids. Work your way through the squids until you find something that you like, until you find something that feels like you know, keep doing it. Keep trying other things. And maybe even if you reach a point where you're happy with something, say, you know, if I'm doing this squid here, you can even copy and paste things to change things too instead of redrawing it. We're like, you know, I like this squid for this kind of style, but what if for this squid, what if I made this narrower too? Because right now it's kind of wide. What if we made this really narrow? Okay. And what if I made these even longer? Is that gonna be something I like? Yeah, that still feels like a squid, but that's an even creepier squid maybe. So maybe the hack for squids is long tentacle narrow for creepy squid. Bye, Billy. Good luck at work. I hope it's normal. I hope nobody wants to quit today. One of your words of wisdom is just give up. No joke, useful when it comes to one game show. I mean, there are times when it is good to pick your battles, but, yeah. The oven broke yesterday. Oh no. Oh geez, Billy. Oh, good night, Asterwee. Thank you for hanging out. I appreciate you coming by. Imagining a slideshow of hyper-realistic squid transforming a cartoon plushie squid. Yeah. But you can see how we kind of worked through here's. This is basically just how the concept art process goes. That also, which is why this is one of the things I teach, because the students that I teach are mostly animation track students, and they need to work on this because this is also how you design animation-based characters too, where, you know, if we're going to make an anime about a squid, if we're gonna make an animated cartoon about a squid, and you give us this to make the cartoon about the squid, we're gonna be like, But if instead you give one of these to here to be about your cartoon about the squid, now we know, okay, this is probably like a kid's cartoon maybe, or maybe this is more friendly and upbeat and lighter. If we get a cartoon about a squid that looks like this, it's gonna be probably a little more eldritch, a little creepier, so. Excited for Rosa Versailles remake. I don't know what that is. Oh. Need to add Squid to your story just to draw a picture for it next to everyone too. There you go. Yeah, Adventures of Gerald the Squid. So we're working through, so we're not only just practicing how to draw a squid, we're practicing how to draw a squid in your style. We're figuring out what things make a squid look like a squid and what things make a squid look less like a squid. Eyes on the front make a squid not look like a squid when we do it like this. Eyes on the side make a squid do look like a squid. We're figuring out how we want to draw a squid in our art style, what permutations push it towards feeling like ourself, and just generally what way we would enjoy to draw it. So, is Squid done? Here, wait, I'll make you guys a squid submission thing here. An extra credit. Let me make a squids. Let's make a new post for iterative squids from stream here. There we go. So here you guys can put your iterative squids in there. It's in the Discord in the extra credit tab under stream related. Oh my gosh, have people been drawing fruits and vegetables already? For the Genshin style? I'm gonna check those next week, but yeah, you guys can put them in there if you want to. Reading a lot of manga, especially by Zayu Goya and Sparrow, looking towards some of the artists right now. Yeah, squid submissions if you so wish. Sitting back porch waiting for the power company. Oh no! Kiniko, I'm sorry, that's rough. Dang. Cthulhu's lesser fourth cousin's thrice removed. Yeah, that is kind of what I have made here. Yeah, I'll save this and I'll put my squids in there too. Just our practice squids. Just some practice squids. I'll put this in my studies. This is squids. But yeah, so we've kind of worked through that. And then the same way, if you're going to do anything you're trying to learn to draw. So if you're learning an anime style, if you looked at my thumbnail, it was eyes. I can pull up for you some of the stuff that I did. I have sketchbooks that are just full of me doing this. If you're somebody who is like, oh, this is kind of redundant and doesn't really make sense, or any of those kinds of sentiments, then maybe this just isn't for you. Maybe you are somebody who is intuitive enough where you can just kind of work towards figuring this out without having to go through all the steps. But I would still challenge you to try it. But here, I can actually, my face tracking's gonna freeze for a second. Whoop, that's a good face. There we go, yeah, go to sleep. But like, I have sketchbooks, like traditional sketchbooks, filled of examples of me doing this, where I was just working through, and they're not like as organized in a grid as other things are. These are just horribly edited photos that I took, where I was doing mouths and noses and anime eyes once upon a time when I was trying to figure out how I wanted to have this sort of art style. Let me pull those up. So here, I can go back to face tracking to work again. There we go. Hey! Hey, I was still watching. Just because it looked like I couldn't see you doesn't mean I couldn't tell you launched me. Sandflower. One guide in a different way. Was not shrooming this day. Oh no. Casting a spell? What? Oh, did I have my hand up? Probably for my tracking. But here, like if I copy like these are old examples of me doing this for drawing eyes, where I was trying to figure out how I wanted to draw eyes once upon a time. I still draw eyes kind of like this. But I was like, okay, what happens if I make it more rounded on the top? What if I make it flatter? What if I push the pupil forward? What if I make it taller? What if I make it even taller and rounder? What if I make it more flat, even more? What if I alter the slant? So instead of slanting this way, it's slanting that way. And then trying all different things. Same deal with like drawing eyes closed, where arc up, arc down, but more towards one side or the other. trying all the different things that there is to try when drawing an eye to see what way of drawing them felt the most natural, felt the best to me. I see what you've done there, I'm sure you do. And then like same deal, was drawing, this sketchbook's a couple years old, drawing mouths, where I was like, okay, what does it look like if I split the mouth into two? What if I don't draw it all as one shape? What if I do draw it as one shape? These are open, this actually might be upside down. Is this upside down? It is, this was upside down. Hey, whoopsie. Kayami, thank you for following. And then drawing for like a mouth, I was like, okay, for like what shape looks best for a smile? Is a smile best flat with the teeth kind of like centered? What if it is wider on one side? What if it's more smooth all the way around? For lips, I was like, do I want to draw a kiss like this, or do I want to draw it like this? What other ways can I draw something that looks like a kiss? Just figuring out all the different ways I could try to draw a mouth to try and give the same idea. And then I think I had, noses. Of learning to draw, this is what I was trying to figure out, a semi-stylized way of drawing a nose, where I was like, okay, do I draw a nose with 1, 2, 3 lines? Do I draw a nose with 1, 2 lines? This one scoops under. Do I like that better? How does that look better? Do I like noses when I draw them down like that and then put a line here and then go to tuck it back under? Do I like it better when I draw the other side of a nostril creeping around the nose? What ways can I draw noses that are better? This is just a straight line down and down. All different options and thoughts and ways of how to do this to work through how you want to do things for your style. I don't think I draw particularly like any of these perhaps as much anymore at this point, but it is helpful for kind of working through things. So, I ask you, are there any perhaps possible things that you guys would like to run through an iterative drawing thing of now too? Because we did squids, but that's not very applicable. Unless you're somebody who draws a lot of squids. Fun to see how your preferences have changed. Yeah, one day I want to do a like looking at my old art, my cringe OCs, my cring drawings from when I was like 13. We can fix them up. But yeah, my sensibilities have changed a lot since then. Men like masculine. I don't know who that is. People like body types. Hair or something too vague. So yeah, we could do body types where, you know, if we're gonna draw a body type, right now I'm gonna draw without a reference. We're just gonna draw something and see, because the things you guys are giving me are more how to draw a variety of things. This is more so a technique for how to draw something in general, or how to make it the way that you would like it. Horses are notorious hard to draw. Oh man, horses. Muscle. So if we're drawing a person, if we're iterating on how we draw a person in body types, you know, you could say, okay, head, shoulders. We're gonna simplify a person quite extremely just to see what's going on. I'm gonna draw mostly triangles here. You know, here's one person, here's one body type. What happens to this body type if we decide, you know, we're gonna iterate on this? What if we make, you know, head same size? What if we make the torso longer? Legs shorter, and we keep this person like the same height. How does that feel for a body type? Do we like that better or worse for if we're trying to make an interesting body type? Madman for suggesting horses. Horses would be crazy. That's true. I will not attempt to draw a horse for you live on stream right this second. Maybe I could, but that's a lot. My Little Pony's a horse style you can draw. That's fair. That's fair. Your men look like women? I mean, I don't want to teach how to draw people of like gendered drawing, because that starts getting into like weird essentialism and stereotypes. If you want somebody to be more masc or femme, it's just analyzing what things to you mean that. So maybe to you, drawing with sharp lines feels more masculine. It'll feel more mask. Thank you for the super, Nick. I appreciate it. Are horses hard to draw? Kind of notoriously, yeah. I can draw a horse, but not right. They all built the same. If you're drawing all of yours built the same, then that might be your trouble. Flex with your drawing hand skill. I could. I don't have to. Jacob Drawfee is great to learn a horse from. Literally, exactly. Jacob and Nathan both draw so many horses for some reason. I don't know why they do that. Young Chungus Gaz, thank you for following. About hair types. Essentially what this is for, what iterative drawing is for determining what way you like to draw something. It's not necessarily for, you know, if we're trying, you know, if we pick a body type to learn how to draw, or a kind of hair to learn how to draw the way you want, that's what it's for. It's not specifically for drawing a variety of hairs. It's learning to figure out how you want to draw one kind of hair. And then you can take the things you learn from that and apply it to other hairs, but it's not for other things. Make them a rectangle? Yeah, what if this person, instead of being that shape there, was a rectangle for the body, and then we have these things here. How does this feel for a person? I've made the hand smaller. For a person, you know, what if we draw this triangle but we invert it? What if it's like narrow triangle on top, but it's wide triangle at the base, and then legs are the same length? This is a different body type. How does that feel then? Oops, I need to put that a little lower with head. And you can kind of feel through. This is how we kind of do designing for animation too, where you're trying to figure out what shape language gives you the body that you're interested in. Hi, Raycall! Welcome in! How are you? Thank you for stopping by. You say draw feet as a meme? I refuse to draw feet. I will not do that for you. Gee, you can't make me. Chubby bodies? So, you know, maybe we could do, let me find a reference for somebody, for a chubby body type, and maybe we can do that. Curly hair? A sizo no feet stream? Yeah, I mean, you can draw feet in a sizo way, but I won't do that either. I hate them. I don't even have them. I don't have feet. You can't make me. It's not a thing. No feet, just a toe? No. You can't make me. It won't happen. A feet guy, you'll get it next time. You'll never get him. You'll never get me. Does your model not actually have feet? I have shoes, but in my lore, my feet just turn right to mycelium at the ankle. I don't have feet. if in my graphic novel I've illustrated, it actually shows it where I just kind of end at the ankle. Say so? Zephyrin what? Say so, EG? What? Oh, say so. Am I saying it wrong? Sizo? That's like say so, but don't quote you. Oh, I have no idea how it's pronounced, unfortunately. I hear such a variety of VTubers saying it things. Yeah, you did, but it was fun. Ah. Drawing square body types in various genders. Yeah, that's true. Could. But here, I'm gonna find, let me find somebody who I could use, because somebody said, drawing like a chubby body type. Whoops, I'm losing letters. Well, it's giving me mostly drawing, so I will pull up somebody here so we can look at them as a reference. But kind of the point of it is to figure out how to draw it the way that you would like to. Oh, that's so funny. By typing those words in, I've gotten all illustration. Don't know a lot of slang. I don't either. I'm not super well steeped in the VTuber language, and in how VTubers talk. So here, let me see. Let me see if I can find a lot of these are Mr. Kevin's idea of what chubby is, which is to say, not really. People seem to have forgotten what this means. Google search results seem to not know what this means. Google search results, these are all conventionally thin people. What is happening? I've been betrayed. Say so? I think Nanners might have been a song with it before. Oh, I feel like that's maybe... VTubers don't talk, they yap. That's true, I do yap. Here, this woman might be a good example. Hang on. Oh, why can't I copy this? This is a WebP. I'm being betrayed in like 9 different ways. Yeah, here, we'll grab this lady. She's licensable stock from Adobe. So we're gonna steal her, and I'm gonna draw her like vaguely in this pose, but we're gonna kind of iterate through how we draw her. Let's see, did I paste it somewhere good? There we go. I'll make this a little bigger. You know, so drawing it, we'll do what we did before. I'm gonna kind of trace it to kind of feel out the style. You're just gonna kidnap him? I don't kidnap people. I'm very nice. We have a loose attendance policy. You can attend if you want. WebP, the evil file type. I don't hate WebP. I can actually open WebP in here if it allows me to. I've actually made this too small. So we're gonna trace this to feel out where all the curves and shapes are. And I'm mostly gonna focus on like torso and legs. I don't know if we need her head for this, but you know, if we were feeling this out, trying to figure out how to draw this body type, we'd say, okay, there's some like arcs to the neck here. The shoulder is quite round, but it kind of tapers a lot more down the arm lower. Okay, we can note that. We can see the hand. Clone nap? I'm cloning people. I'm stealing people in my evil science place. I cloned Crony last Friday. Not kidnapping, it's now called iterating? No! Example of square body type on an assumed female body. Ah, I see, I see. Oh, we can say, okay. You can see, like, you know, a little bit of, like, the breast shape here. Cleavage in here. We can see, okay, here's kind of like a fold or like a curve that wraps around. This is like a nice arcing shape under here. We can see that we're using a lot of these arcing shapes, but things still taper for this body type. So if I were to draw a sketch of trying to draw this in my own style after this, I'd say, okay, I know that arcing shapes tend to be the way to do it, and that limbs still taper, where their most weight for this body type is closer to the torso. Everything's tapering more towards the limbs. So let me hide that. And then say, okay, if I'm gonna draw this myself, we know, okay, here's a head. We know that there's a kind of roundedness that happens in the neck, and then it kind of rounds out over the shoulder. This is not gonna be anatomically correct. The arm is kind of wide here, but you know, when it gets lower, we know that it kind of tapers more. So we can kind of note that. And then as we do them, PSA from Wordy, it's okay to trace to learn. Exactly. You can trace as a learning tool if you're doing it in the process and it's not the final result. You're doing it to learn and become familiar with the shapes of something. You can say, okay, we learned also that like the chest kind of comes around and is kind of like flat across the bottom here. And then there's kind of like a 1, 2 thing here on the torso. And then this arm kind of comes out here and it's wider. And then it still tapers again as it gets higher up. I'm not really aiming for accuracy here. I'm just aiming for figuring out what the shapes are. And then leg, widest at the base, and then it's much narrower towards the foot. And then this leg, you know, there's kind of like a shape there. It arcs under. Nips in. It's kind of like the bean shape almost. I don't know if I've made it thick enough either for a leg. This looks horrifying because I'm not aiming for accuracy for the pose. But you know, then we can kind of like liquefy tool it around. And another way that you can do iteration to some degree is liquefy tool for things where like we can see, okay, this looks better if I lean it out more. Chest might have been too high. I think the head's too small. Just drag things around until it feels like it's more accurate with what the source was. Like the knee's a little bit out further, the foot's kind of in, down more. And then you could take this and copy and paste it and say, okay, is this gonna feel more like I'm interpreting this in my style if I take this down here and instead of, you know, making the chest shaped like that, what if instead we go like this? And like the way I draw is more contrasty and arcing lines. So like maybe this arcs down more first, and then maybe this arm has a steeper angle to it where it'll feel more like my style to do that. Not having a chin makes this kind of weird. Or, you know, maybe it'd feel like it's more my style if I exaggerated how like long the leg is. It'd feel better. It'd feel like it makes more sense to me if I made this leg longer. And take this and make this longer. I kind of screwed up what this ankle looks like by doing this. And then, you know, pull this down. Maybe the hand will feel better if I make the hand bigger here, where, you know, maybe the hand's too small. And then you could copy and paste this again and keep trying other things to it to see what changes it. Without the shapes, shading doesn't help properly define a chubby person. That's true. So you do need to define with shape or with shading, you know, the curvature of things, but you need to get the overall shape language of something where, like, you know, if I was drawing this in a different style and I tried to draw this person with all like right angles instead, where if I was drawing this really, really sharply, where like, you know, it might not feel like we're getting the same body type across because we're not paying attention to what the shape language is of that person. But there maybe is still a way that it could work. But I see, and here I am saying, proving myself wrong, which is that this is the style that I draw in, so I'm having a much easier time doing this like this than with all curves. And I could say, hey, that feels pretty good to me. I like drawing with right angles. I like drawing things really sharp. But if you don't like that, you could do it instead with more arcing curves, more S-type curves throughout the form. So like I draw like this, I draw like that, and like this. You could draw more like this or like that. It's all about the language you want. Shading helps? Yeah. Oh, thank you, Lyle Hayes, for following. Me drink a little bit more of my bevy here. But it's about analyzing the shapes and figure out what you want to change to make it fit your style more. So I could even say more so like, you know, if I want this to be an anime style, we can iterate this further, copy, paste. Might have to put it somewhere else and erase some things. If I want this to feel more anime style, we can note that things feel more anime styled when the head is bigger. But if we make the head bigger, we might have to make other things bigger. So what will it look like when we make the head just bigger? Or what will it look like if we were to make, you know, the legs even longer? Or what would it feel like if we did XYZ in some other way? Thank you for pronouncing your name right. A lot of people struggle to. That's a miracle. It's a miracle I pronounced your name right. I am so well known for pronouncing everything wrong, so I'm so glad I could do that for you. You like my style a lot? Thanks! I draw very angularly when I'm not doing VTuber stuff. Yeah, hands and feet are difficult too. It's tough, but then, you know, you could keep permeating on this and saying, okay, would it look better if I actually did, like, you know, we've got this one here. What if we mixed having right angles and more arcs where, you know, places we want to show how, like, rounded are, we make more rounded instead of all the right angles that I drew? Will that feel better for your style? For me, I'm going to look at it and be like, that's weird because that's not how I draw. But for somebody, maybe it feels better to have all these things drawn smooth and smooth arcs. And to see how that changes our interpretation of the figure, see how it feels for you as a person, whether that's something you like or not. You know, sweep this arc around here. But it's about trial and error. We're trying all the possible permutations of something. Hey! Always been following on Twitter and YouTube. Didn't know you weren't following on Twitch. It's all good. I do that constantly. Had fun. Oh, bye Baroque. Thank you for stopping by. Using fruit shapes like we're back in the 90s, what you do often. Yeah, that also works. That also makes sense. So like, I don't quite know how to classify people with the fruit shapes all the time, but you know, find a sample of the body type you are interested in, give it a little bit of a tracing over to get familiar with it, and then change different things about it to make it feel like more like it's what you want. Where, you know, I made the leg longer. I think I actually made her have larger boobs. I changed the angle of where this roll is sitting on the chest. But this feels like a chubby body type I've drawn on both of these places here, and I think they work. Are you guys fighting about my glasses again? What's happening? Why do you guys do this? This is such a common thing. Everybody fights about my glasses, and then they make me bald. Wordy out of left field, glasses are gone. You guys lost your glasses privileges, actually. But that's the kind of way that you would kind of work through how you want to and how you are comfortable with drawing other body types. This is fire. What is fire? My drawing? Me losing my wig? We're so bad. Okay, now I'm covered in paint too. You guys are really using everything, huh? Sadly, actually does nothing when I have no glasses. Maybe I should make actually cost more so we stop doing it back and forth. I'm glad you approve. Are we discovering all of the redeems right now? Are we discovering all of the redeems? I'm glad you guys are enjoying the redeems. When you do the ladder test on character design, how do you pick what gets a bar added to the ladder? It's any major horizontal division in something where, like, I can't really draw a ladder for this, but anywhere where there's a major, like, horizontal point of interest almost, or division in contrast or shape and line, something like that is where I do it. Tom Rees! Finally wake up to a Squeiji stream and watching all the VODs weekly rituals at this point. Aww, thank you for watching my VODs. I appreciate it. I'm glad you could make it. That's why I did a daytime stream today, is so that more people are more easily able to come hang out. Also because with scheduling for me for a Friday, it's a little easier. As far as the glasses leave with the hair, are they attached? They're actually not. You could have glasses with this, but the problem is that the glasses are actually wider than my head is in order to fit over my hair. So they kind of float over my ears if we don't do that. If they don't remove. Tips for shading. for shading. We're kind of focusing on iterative design. So, you know, if we're doing shading iteratively, let's just shade a sphere. Classic, we'll shade a sphere. So let me just like mid-tone, make a circle. So the tips for shading would be, if you're trying to figure out how shading works and how it works for you, you can look at a reference. I'm gonna copy and paste this sphere a bunch of times and then move them. And then we can try shading different ways to see what feels better for making a sphere have shape. Because for as much as you can look at a reference and say, okay, this works, that doesn't. Actually, let me delete this one. I'm just gonna merge these and copy them. That isn't really developing in your brain how things work. Because the more you have the understanding yourself, the better it works. You have PTSD from needing to shade a tiger. I drew a lion when I was a kid, and that was like the wildest thing to me as far as that goes. But I was glad that I did it because it helped. Okay, so for shading a sphere, the first way we would think of to maybe shade a sphere, you know, if we're thinking of shading something spherical, I'm gonna take like a dark color, is saying, okay, you know, we kind of know that, you know, if our light source is like, let me draw a light source indicator. Like if our light source is like up here for all of these, like, you know, light source is like here for every single one. You know, we might think, okay, you know, light is up there. This will be shadow. Maybe you know to arc it, maybe you don't, but you know, we'll know that there's kind of like a shadow here, and you know, the sun's up here, so the edge of it would be lighter. Put that on the edge. But you shade it like that and you go, well, it doesn't really look like a sphere. How can we make this look more like a sphere? Maybe, you know, this is a circle and we've arced this. Maybe this is arced in the wrong direction. Maybe we can keep this down here. And maybe we need this to be like this. And you know, that reads a little better. That reads a little bit more like we're shading a sphere. That makes a little bit more sense for shading. Sounds like a conspiracy theory. What are you guys conspiracy theorizing about? My hair? My glasses? Her? Okay, so this is moving a little bit of a right direction, but what if we, you know, play with things touching the edge or not? What if this doesn't touch the bottom edge? Is that gonna feel more like a sphere? The shading shape. Is that gonna feel more like a sphere? And then make this touch that upper edge. Where, yeah, that actually probably feels a little bit more like a sphere. I think that helps it. And you can keep making changes, and this is what you do for other things. As you are working through how to shade something, you can work through the options. Don't be afraid to erase and redraw things and say, okay, I can tell that what I've done here isn't working. You know, so we can go like this. We said, okay, that bottom edge works. So maybe following the same line of thinking, what if we move this highlight in from that edge? And now this is feeling even more like an actual sphere. See how much more dimension we're getting as we go across those? And then you can take what you've learned from this and apply it to other things where we've kind of learned that, oh, okay, highlights on rounded surfaces don't touch the edge. And shadows also usually don't fully touch the edge. So if we were to take what we've learned here and apply it to like a cube or something, we can do the same thing, or like a cylinder. And you'd know, you know, based on doing that from, if you were to draw a cylinder, let me draw a cylinder real quick. You know, it's not gonna be a very accurate cylinder, but we can say, okay, if we're drawing a cylinder and we're trying to shade a cylinder, we learned from the circle that highlights often don't touch the edges, so we can take that and apply it. Where the shading doesn't touch an edge. Where, you know. Whoops, this should be clipped. There we go. What? What's going on here? Oh, that should be clipped. Where, like, yeah, we know shading shouldn't touch the edge. And maybe the highlight shouldn't touch the edge either. Where that already seems kind of rounded. It seems like our light source over here that was kind of rounded, but for a cylinder, maybe there's other things you would change. You can keep iterating through them. Gradient using with shading helps. It can, but you don't have to. But yeah, as you were trying things out, you could say, okay, this that we've done here, what happens if we instead take this that I've done in flat shading, which is just like a stylistic test. What if we take these things that we did in flat shading, and what if we smooth out everything? What if we blend out the edges of all of these? Does that feel more like the sphere I want it to feel like? Maybe. What if instead of doing that, what if I only smooth out some of them? what if I take this and, you know, what if I really, really blur out this highlight, super duper blur out the highlight, so that it's not as strong. That might actually have been too much. And what if I only blur like the top edge of this, but I don't blur it as much? What if this is a much faster gradient instead? Is that gonna feel more like a sphere that I want? And what if I don't blend out that bottom line? Does that feel more like a sphere? Maybe. It's got higher contrast. Maybe we tick that down. Higher contrast feels more like a properly shaded sphere. Maybe we notice, okay, actually, this might actually be better if we blend this out more, but we leave that bottom edge not blended. Or maybe, you know, we note that it felt too soft in that one. Maybe we make a smaller transition in gradient here, and that feels like a sphere. Maybe we decide looking at this, oh, you know, maybe we want some of that sharper stuff back. Maybe it doesn't need to all be airbrush. Maybe what if we had like a stronger, whiter highlight on here? What does that do? Does that make the shading feel better? Does that make the shading feel more accurate for the look we're going for? If I do like a circle, like, let me figure out where I'm gonna put it, like here almost? What if you do that? That's almost like a specular highlight. That makes it feel more rounded, like it's reflecting more. So that's getting into material for it. So these are just all the kinds of things you can work through as you are learning to shade something. We're not learning to shade a specific object, but we are learning how to shade, and then we can take what we learned from this and say, okay, I like when I have a combination of hard and soft edges. And maybe that's how you feel about drawing. We're like, maybe, you know, something like, let me redo that a little bit actually. Maybe something like this where you have some sharp edges, but also gradients is what you like the best for how to render a sphere. Maybe you are me, I like doing this. Maybe, on the other hand, you say, okay, we try like, you know, what if there's a highlight here? What if there's more gradient transition colors where maybe it's not as dark here? What does that do? Does that feel better? Maybe these have to taper more for it to feel more like a sphere. You just keep trying things, just keep trying things. That sphere was perfect. Which sphere was perfect? What, the ones I'm editing? Ferrex and Aces, thank you for following. Good old 1-2 there. That you can always look at pictures on the internet as reference material. Yeah, don't think you'll be able to figure out what would feel like a sphere by just looking at it your own drawings. Don't have visual enough memory for that. But then, yeah, you would do what we were doing before when we were looking at the woman or the squid, where you start with sort of a reference to kind of base it off of, and you kind of mimic it, but then you iterate from there and say, oh, well, this doesn't work the way I want it to. It could work better if I, in my style, shifted it a little bit this way, or, you know, if I blended it out. So you can use a reference, like we did for the squid, where we started with, where is he? Where is my squid? Oh, Squid! Oh, I do this on the same one, where we started with Squid. You can do the same thing for shading. Yeah, mimicking is a great way of practicing, but you can't just blindly mimic it. You have to take those notes in your mind, so you're not just building a memory in your hand. You gotta build a memory in your brain too of what is working and what isn't. Yeah, and grayscale is also a good way of learning shading. Gotta make sure you've got enough contrast happening. Hi, Aces! Your new model, so cute. Thanks. Thank you. I really like my new model. I'm so happy with it. I'm so squishy. Illiterate drawing, nice one. Oh no, not illiterate drawing. You guys are funny. You're not gonna go anime protagonist and challenge God or anything? What? What? What are you guys doing? What? You love grayscale and you're too lazy to think about colors, then you mix gradient maps. That's an interesting way of coloring. You can mix gradient maps. I've taught before drawing from like how to color grayscale, but I don't like that as a beginner technique. That's kind of the beef I have with Mark, what is his last name, Brunet, who's very popular for his how to color everything kinds of videos. That's not a beginner technique. That's really hard to do well. He does it well because he's been doing it for years. And he shows you a method that will work if you know what you're doing and you know how to apply it. And if you already have all of these kinds of sensibilities that I'm kind of teaching you how to develop, if you don't have them, it's gonna turn out like a muddy mess. Learning color is better than relying on that kind of technique often. You can use that as a technique, it's a tool, but you gotta understand why it works too. How do you do the stroke outline on your model, if you don't mind asking? Is it a shader in OBS? It's an OBS. I have a plugin that puts an outline on me. I actually have it applied twice. I have a yellow one and a green one. This makes me kind of pop for my background. Yeah. This is good for drawing Pokemon you like? Yeah. Pokemon have a good thing going for them, which is that they're very shape language inclined. They're very shape language inclined, so that kids can draw them. So they're well designed for drawing. New, but you can't seem to be able to do 30 circles or shading. What do you mean? Hello, Cookie Muncher. Hi. Do you have a link for it anywhere? Is it easy enough to find? If you look up OBS, I believe it's called Stroke and Glow plugin. Is what it is, perhaps? It's a good tool if you have a solid grasp on color but struggle with value. Yeah, Mark Burnett's style thing is for if you have a solid grasp on color but you're struggling with value. But often those two struggles go hand in hand for a lot of beginner artists. Oh, 3D circles like spheres? You don't have to draw 30 of them. You don't have to, but it's just you gotta build the memory of them. You gotta draw a number of them. Thanks, y'all around for them? Good. What hardware are you using to draw tabler-wise? I have an Artist Pro 13.3. It's an XP Pen tablet. BFF calls your voice if Helen Pepper ate ghost pepper? What? I'm sorry to hear that. That's kind of wild. Pokemon are easy, like making little environment drawing sometimes with them. Yeah, they're designed with drawing in mind. I could go for Pokemon designs one day because they've kind of mastered the plushification, simplification thing in a lot of cases. And the ones that don't are the ones that feel like Fakemon, or however you say it, Fakemon. The ones that haven't succeeded in these sort of character design principles or in like simplification or shape language are the ones that don't feel like real Pokemon. Are you done with circles and your circles are still bad? It takes practice. You can't expect to have solved everything in a day, unfortunately. Where like, you know, maybe I got to this point with drawing, where are my squids? Maybe I got to this point with liking how I'd drawn squids after one day of drawing squids. But maybe I take a nap, I wake back up, and then I try again, and I draw more squids. And you know, I keep in mind all of those things, but because I'm coming with a fresh eye, I'm gonna have new ideas about how to make these squids different. I'm gonna have new ideas about how to change, you know, what to change and what's gonna make something more different. For iteration, you like practicing materials? Yeah, there's a really popular, this is not quite iteration, but have you guys seen the like spheres for material practice? Is that what you're talking about? Are you talking about the thing where people practice rendering like 100 spheres? Where they do like one of these things? One of these things where they practice rendering a bunch of spheres so they can do texture practice. Because like this is also a good exercise for digital painting. Hey, look, mushroom! Because this is good for practicing like color and shape and texture and all of those things. You kind of would build up your inventory of what you're familiar with. But this isn't really iterative. This is drawing one texture once and then moving on to something else. You haven't seen that? Oh. This would be iterative if somebody were to draw this like spandex sphere like 6 times, but try different things for each time of it to make it feel the best. We're like, you know, if I were to critique this one, I would say that like, that spandex feels pretty good. The rose works, but like this fur, I don't know if it works for me, it's kind of flat. So they can iterate on this fur and draw this fur a second time and say, oh, what if we push the contrast? What if we more deal with bigger shapes in the fur and have less small details? What if we try this? What if we try that? And keep doing those what ifs to make it better. How do you keep practicing and drawing a thing when you found how you like it? Just repeat it again and again, doesn't sound appealing. If you found how you like it, I mean, that's about kind of finding different ways to draw something to make practicing fun for yourself. Where for me, the other day, I know how to draw torsos. I know how to draw torsos the way I like to draw torsos, but I gotta brush up on it from time to time. I gotta practice drawing muscles. You know, we'll get rusty after so long of not drawing them. So I was like, okay, I'm going to motivate myself to draw this torso by drawing Zack Fair from Final Fantasy VII. And I'm just going to do a torso study with his head on it. So then I've satisfied the itch in me that wants to make fan art, while also satisfying the need to practice something. It's finding a way to make it fun, where maybe, you know, if you like the way that you draw that thing, you don't need to change the way you draw that thing, but throw another variable in there. Variety's the spice of life. What happens if you draw that thing using different colors than you usually would? But if you draw that thing, but you make it a character that you like? The tutorial, try your own technique before learning from the reference. Again, yeah, that's a good way of doing it. But yeah. This seems for experts. I don't know if for experts, this is something that is a university level task. I had to do this at one point too. Mine's not very good. I was not yet at the point where I knew how to draw very well. But some of my compatriots were really good at it. Can't even do spheres. I was told to keep doing shapes to get better at figure and gesture drawing, but you're still bad. It takes practice, and this is one of those things where a lot of the things that I had said in going through this are the kinds of things that might help you to keep in mind, but a lot of it is also developing the eye, I guess, for it too, where you said that you don't know if you can look at a sphere with your eye and tell if it looks right or not. That is the root of the problem, unfortunately. The root of the problem is that you have to develop your eye to know when something isn't right or wrong. So you have to build your visual inventory, look at a lot of spheres, take notes, physically like write down notes about spheres or circles or whatever that shape is, notes about how they work, where, you know, as I was talking about this, let me get rid of the squids. Where are my squids? Go away. Taking notes about these, where the notes that we took of what works for spheres, you know, highlight does not touch the edge. Shadow touches the edge, but not all the way on the bottom. Sphere tends to look most rounded and most naturalistically sphere. When things are blended out, the highlight is quite blended out, and the transition of this gradient line here is the most smooth, but this transition on the bottom line, where the bounce light is hitting, is much quicker. It doesn't transition as much. So you gotta use your eye, and you have to take all of those notes as to what is happening in reality. So that way, you know, when you're going through and doing it yourself, trying to apply it, you can check off your list of, did I blend this out properly, or did I blend it out too strong? Am I doing this cleanly enough? Is my sphere, like, what direction is the light facing? Have I faced it properly into the light? Yeah. Just knowing where to place folds in clothing usually. That's a whole other thing too, where all of these things are things where you have to build your, like, visual, like, your language and your mind of understanding, where, you know, you take a cloth and you just try a bunch of things to see what looks the most naturalistic. Figure out what looks the most natural for cloth, or what looks the most natural for something, where, you know, if I draw a cloth like this, you know, this is a cloth that's kind of like sagging down. Is it going to look better if I draw lines on it, you know, like this? Is this going to give the effect that I want if they're coming down all from a center point? I don't know. That doesn't seem to make sense to me. What if, you know, they overlap more? What if, you know, this one is in front and this one is behind instead? That feels a little bit more like it makes sense for folds. What if they don't touch each other? What if I copy and paste this and move this? And for drawing a fold, what if we draw the lines and they're not touching? What if I just draw one that goes like this and one that goes like that? Does that give the feeling we want from the fold? So we're just practicing different ways of kind of interpreting how we want it to be until you get to something that feels good, right? How long do you warm up before drawing for it to ask? Like 5 minutes maximum. Do you have a Discord? Yep. Exclamation point Discord. Iteration is good for nailing down character design? Yeah, it is. That's what I mostly use it for. I iterated a lot when I was designing Squeiji. Our teacher says 30 minutes. Unfortunately, I mean, you can warm up for 30 minutes, but unfortunately, if you are at the high school level, you're not gonna have time to do that, because most high school art classes are, what, 45 minutes? That'd be most of class warming up. It's just until whatever point you feel like you've loosened up. Yeah, 30 minutes is kind of long. I don't know if you need to warm up for 30 minutes. If you're doing like a drawing to warm up, maybe, but that seems like a long time. For these folds then too, you know, what if we try putting a little bit of zigzag in them? I don't know, we've probably seen people who do like the little, like, that thing for folds. Does that feel more like how you want the fold to feel? What if we reverse the direction those angles are in? How does that feel if we go like that instead? Is that more the shape that feels right for this? I know we can kind of combine things too, where we say, oh, okay, I kind of liked, whoops, I think I actually drew that on that one. Whoopsie. Did I do that on this one too? Oh no! There we go. We can say, oh, combine things. Overlap seems good. A little bit of that at the top seems good. So maybe if I go like this and then do that kind of like low overlap, like overlap thing. Maybe that feels like a good way of drawing a fold. You even have high school art classes? Yeah. I had high school art class. Mine was 45 minutes. I had first period in the day. That was my morning. Yeah. My voice is like dying already. I've not been live for that long. Why is my voice dying? Lotus of Chaos, thank you for following. Sorry, I missed you for a minute there. You can see how far I tilt my head back to drink my liquid. Yours is 45, yeah. You had one for 90 minutes. See, that would be kind of nice. Would you give water but on cooldown? I can drink water myself, thankfully. Did get reminded to do it. Didn't get to in high school art classes. Did some teachers be mad when you doodle in class? Oh man, I got in so much trouble for drawing in class all the time. I drew through all my math classes and the teachers hated it. They despised it. It did not go over well with them, as you'd imagine. I think your drawings in middle school are better than your drawings now. I mean, that's one of those things. People talk about art regression, and I wouldn't call it that, but it's the same deal as, like, you know, if you play a sport or anything like that, or you ride a bike, they say you never forget how to ride a bike. Yeah, you do. You won't be able to ride it the way you did when you were at the peak of understanding it and doing the most, doing it, you know, practicing it as much as you could. I would say that my drawing skill right now, the peak of my drawing skill is not currently. The peak of my drawing skill is probably about a year ago, because I haven't gotten to practice. You forgot how to ride a bike? Yeah, that's how it works. If you don't practice things, you're going to get out of practice with them. So for me, my peak of being able to draw was about a year ago, when I was in the middle of my grad program, not preparing for exhibition, where because I was getting so much practice in for drawing, that was the best I ever was at drawing in that semi-realism style. The best I ever was at drawing in an anime style was during lockdown, was 2020, because I was practicing it the most then, and I still haven't quite gotten back to where I was with it at that point, because I haven't done it in so long. I got rusty. That doesn't mean I'm regressing. It just means that I need to practice those things a little more now. I gotta keep them fresh. Friends for your fine arts class essentially gave yourself another 45 minutes because you had a lunch period before. Oh, that's kind of nice. Funny enough, you never learned how to ride a bike? You're not the only one. I know a lot of people who don't know how to ride bikes. Depends on where you're from. Makes a lot more sense. 3D sculpting takes a while? Yeah. If that for a long one, yeah. Did hand study already forgot how to do it again, but he felt like you were regressing? No. I don't think there's anything such thing as regression. For some degree, yes, it is getting rusty. And just because you've done something well once doesn't mean you actually know how to do it. I don't know if anyone has ever been in that circumstance where they draw something and they draw an eye and they're like, oh, this eye is perfect. I gotta change everything else because this eye is perfect. I don't want to redraw this eye. If you're feeling like that means you don't know how to draw eyes. If you're feeling like, oh, I finally got this eye right, I can't change it, that means you're treating yourself like you don't know how to draw eyes. If you've done it once, you should be able to do it again if you actually know how to draw eyes. It means you need more practice at it. So just being able to do something once doesn't mean that you can do it. You gotta see what worked for that one time you did it right and figure out how you can replicate it more going forward, yeah. It's more like you're putting on pause than regressing. Yes, it's more like putting on pause. You get a little rusty, you lose your muscle memory a little bit. You're not regressing, but you need to warm back up to it. You gotta get back into it. Stop drawing for a bit and you gotta get back to basics, yeah. And that's how it goes sometimes, and that's not the worst. It's like anything, it's a skill. You gotta practice it, you gotta maintain it. It's like your car. You can't just leave your car sitting in the lot and expect it to be okay. Your car's not regressing, but your car's experiencing the passage of time. So, can we just shake up the rust when you get to cello again? Oh man, yeah. 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 Learn how to ride a bike when its tires are a bit flat. Hey, that's hard mode. That's hard mode learning. If you can do it like that, you can do it in other ways. Why are you booing me? Faye, Fable Faye, why are you booing me? 3D animation teacher and your fine art teacher were your biggest supporters when you wanted to pursue art as a career? Yeah, that's true. I had some good supporters in art too, specifically in my undergrad and graduate time. In high school, my art teacher was a creep, unfortunately, so I didn't get a lot good out of that. But it's been much better now. Yeah, gotta do studies again. You gotta do studies again. Your way of saying hi? Okay, I see. You say hi by throwing things at me. Creeper? Yeah, oh no, it's fine. He was a weirdo. But we've moved on from that. He no longer works there. He actually got removed for good reason. Last time you threw me? Oh, thanks. wish you had that you're behind in everything. Hey, me too. I was behind in everything. I was significantly behind my peers all the way up until I was in college with drawing. It took me a long time to catch up. My senior year of high school was when I finally started to figure it out. It takes some time. And there's no deadline for any of these things either. Some people figure things out when they're in their teens. Some people figure things out in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. That's fine. Everybody takes things at their own pace. So I get really sad when people start comparing themselves to like 15-year-olds who are really good at drawing. They probably just have access to resources that we didn't have at 15. They probably have access to time that we didn't have when we were 15. Maybe they are just naturally inclined towards that, where not everyone is. Everybody at their own pace. It's not worth worrying about. High school art was tragic. Yeah, my high school art, I'll show you guys it. I'll show you guys it. It's not great. You would not expect that I'm an art teacher, that I'm somebody who teaches art. In your senior year and you're still the worst ever. But that's not a reason to give up. I was not good. It took me a long time to figure out where I was. It took a lot of practice and hard work, and it was really defeating. But I can tell you, because I got to the other side of it, that you will get there. It just takes some time. You're gonna work on it. About 20 years, Rust needs to take a few months to get back to animation school level again. Yeah. 13 years for fashion school, so trying not to draw in fashion sketch proportions has been hard. Oh yeah, I'd imagine. I had a friend who I was reteaching how to draw who knew how to draw in fashion sketch proportions, and I was like, my guy, what are you doing to those wrists and ankles? What are you doing? It's hard to unlearn and relearn other things, yeah. Yeah, it's amazing that kids are getting more and more skilled, and it's because they have access to more resources than we did growing up often too, where for me, when I was growing up, I didn't have access to YouTube probably until I was like 15, maybe? I really didn't have access to YouTube for drawing tutorials or DeviantArt drawing tutorials or any of that stuff till I was older, and in school I got to take art once a week until I was in high school, so that's not a lot. I'm really happy for kids today that they have more access to things. It makes it a lot easier. Gen Ed teachers never minded that you're doing your schoolwork. That's nice. Mine also really minded. I'm a bit older than a number of you, it seems like, where, you know, that was not acceptable. For me to doodle in class, they hated that. They did not tolerate it. Mazzykins, thank you for following. Toothpickification of limbs, exactly, Ryuku. Yeah, for fashion drawings. Yeah. Didn't have social media or phone until later. Oh man, that's kind of wild. Sorry to hear that. 6th grade art didn't like you drawing anime style. So hey, I do have to talk about a thing that's going on next week, which is that I will not, after Monday next week, I actually won't be here. Oh, hello. Hi, Raiders. Hi. Hello. Hi, thank you for following Odin, Medic, Rowan, Kabbalah, blah, blah. Crazy names. Salma's already rotating at him. Viruka's already rotating at him. Thank you for rotating at him. I'm not leaving this world. No. Hi, Raiders. Hi, Smoky Paul. I'm Squeiji. Alright, I was drawing cloths. I'm a freelance artist fungi. I'm also an art educator, and today I was teaching a lesson on iterative drawing. You have a great accent? I have an accent? I guess I must. Everybody has one. I'm glad you like it. I probably sound East Coast United States, if I have to imagine. So happy to catch your stream. Love your videos. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for bringing your fellows in. What were you guys up to? Thank you for stopping by. Also, thank you for following Smoky Paul. We were drawing squids and people and spheres because we were talking about iterative drawing. How you can learn how to draw. Where did I get my accent? I don't know. Where I live? I'm not sure. I don't really know how that works. I was talking about though, that next week I will not be here after Monday, unfortunately. I'm actually moving next weekend. I am moving 7 hours across the state. Also did some arts, finished some autumn YCH. Nice! Oh, that sounds fun. I hope you guys had a nice time drawing. We were also doing some drawing. Moving up in the world, hope it goes well. Thanks! I had like a weird thing where I was like, am I really gonna have my debut be this close to when I move? But there was really no other way of doing it. Good luck moving 7 hours this far. Yeah! Thank you for the luck. Watch your YouTube videos all the time is like, why am I not following you? Oh, thanks. Thank you. That move will be okay. It'll go. I'm not giving you my location, Ree. Silly goose. Don't envy the travel, but congrats. I hate moving. There is few things on this earth I hate more than moving. I've moved every single year for the last, it'll be the 8th year in a row where I've moved every year. I'm so tired of it. I don't want to move anymore. I want to live somewhere. Oh, to be fair, from Scandinavia. Ah, I see. Yeah, I sound very typical American, I'd say. But I'm glad you like it. Promise to watch VODs and YouTube during hours. Well, don't worry. Got a raid and run? That's okay. Don't worry about it. Take care of yourself. If anybody else has to go from your fellas, go for it. Do your thing. Why? Do your thing. Take care of yourselves. Why are you moving so much? Teaching and master's degree. When I was in school, I'd often have to move apartments every year, just because they would change the price, or, you know, I'd live somewhere and the place would actually kind of suck, so I'd try somewhere else. But yeah. Oh, I'm glad you like my model. Yeah, so I am moving because I finished my master's degree, so I don't want to live in this area anymore, because I don't teach here either anymore. So I would like to live somewhere where there is people and things, because I live in the middle of nowhere right now. So we're gonna go back to people and things. My partner also got a really cool job, so we're moving towards where that is. So it'll be nice. But Monday, we're gonna do a super long stream. We're streaming Sunday as a bonus. You guys get an extra VOD. Monday, we're gonna do character design crits, but we're actually gonna start early. We're gonna start earlier. So that way you guys get a very long crit for it. So that way you guys will have a little bit of something to watch during that week while I'm missing. I also will finally have another YouTube video coming out. So maybe that'll help fill up the gap a little bit. So we'll do like a debut thing for that, almost like you can do on YouTube, where it does like the little like premiere thing. So you guys can still hang out in the chat and say hi to each other, and I'll be there too. I'll say hi. So we can do all of that. And then we will have to see when I can return after that, because I don't know how long it's gonna take me to settle in, because I might also be doing a weird like move and then move a second time thing, which is gonna not be fun. Where it might be I move out and then hang out with my parents for a couple weeks while we get our new apartment ready. And then I have to move into the new apartment. So we're gonna figure out where that's all gonna go. So I'm gonna try my best to be in there, make up the distance with more like videos and things in the meantime. But I'll be back. I'm not abandoning you. I'll give you things to watch. Don't worry. Don't worry. Goodness, you poor dear. I hate moving. I hate moving. Good luck, thank you. Promise you guys won't forget about me. Promise you won't forget about me while I'm gone. It probably won't be more than like a little bit over a week. Hopefully. That we'll get it worked out. We'll get it worked out. Don't worry. Never? Thanks. I'll still be around. I'll be in the Discord. I'll be on Twitter. I'll be releasing videos, and I'll put some in the meantime. Rest, waiting impatiently for a turn. Thank you. I appreciate it. But in the meantime, at least, I will have a bonus stream on Sunday and a long stream on Monday, so that way there's longer VOD to watch for my VOD watchers. You'll probably have the same amount of content that week as you would usually in a usual week if we're including Sunday towards it. So, yeah. Thank you. Imperium always proclaims existence of shroomness. Thank you. I'm reassured. Barbecue would have a nice VOD to watch then, as will all of my lovely VOD fellows. As will all of them. I appreciate everybody who watches the VODs. I like seeing the comments that roll in from them. But yeah, so that is the game plan for that, is hopefully things will settle in relatively quick. But yeah, we stand the lurkers and the VOD watchers. We love them here. What characters are you gonna critique Monday? We're not doing characters on Monday. We're doing VTubers once more. Oh, Striker! Thank you for subscribing. I didn't throw the thing at me yet. What's happening? Throw me my sticky thing. There we go. Thank you. Thank you for subscribing. I appreciate it. Look, it's on my hand. Look at it all jiggly. I appreciate it. Hello. Lurkin? Yeah. Good thing your redesign's taking longer than planned. Maybe. We'll see. This is gonna be my current fight against how long the queue is. We're gonna see if we can catch up a little sooner. Catch up a little more on it. The game plan right now, don't quote me, it might change between now and when I post the schedule on Sunday, Game plan now is that I'm going to start stream the same time I did today. I'm gonna start at 2. I'm gonna start 4 hours early and go until I have run out of steam for it. We're gonna start at 2 and just keep going. We're gonna get EU viewers transition straight into EST PST viewers. So that could be veritably, Zephyrin, you do not have to be here the whole time. Mods, you don't have to be there the whole time. It is okay. Things will be under control and be okay. Even like that. Yeah, get snacks and water stocked up. Don't worry. I will take a break probably at some point. Force it to run some ads for a break. I'll take care of myself. I know how to take care of myself. I'm an adult. But yeah, so we'll do what veritably could be, you know, I usually do a 6-hour stream. This could be closer to an 8-hour stream. Maybe, we'll see. We'll see how much energy I have for it. It might not be that long, but it'll be longer than I've usually done Mondays. Just so that there's, you know, something to tide you over. That way, you know, maybe if you can't stick around for the whole time, you can watch the VOD in my absence, you know? Ree, I appreciate it. I appreciate that you'll watch everybody for me. You gotta be on your good behavior though, Ree. Set a time? Ah, I see. Oh, don't forget soup on the stove. That's dangerous. These are detailed? Yeah, that's a phrasing thing there. That's kind of silly. No promises? That's okay. Depending on what, you may or may not be there. Mods, you don't have to be there. Mods, you never have to be here for the whole time, any of it. I appreciate that you come, and you can be here for as much as you want to or can. Do not worry about it. I can hold down the fort. Billy will also be here because Billy's mostly Monday. So, everybody promises they'll behave. They're close to matching. Oh, is my Twitch behind right now? Is that why? If you're not busy, you'll tune in for the whole 8 hours? Dang, I appreciate it. If you want to, you don't have to. I appreciate it. Fingers crossed. Selma, are you lying? Are you crossing your fingers because you're lying? Why would you do that to me? Why would you lie? Oh, thanks for my glasses, Power Cap. But working for majority of the stream one day, that's okay. If you can show up, if you can make it, I appreciate it. If you watch the VOD, I also appreciate it. Let it run and lurk for 8 hours? Oh my gosh. Well, I appreciate that too, but lose attendance policy, fellas, as I say. You don't have to be here. We've got a hybrid learning style, and I appreciate that you support me, regardless of whether you're here all the time or not. Don't worry about it. These streams are how you figure out what day it is. Low-key, me too. I kind of lost the sense of linear time after I finished my degree for a couple weeks as I was preparing for the debut. I didn't know what day it was ever. Now, I always know what week it is. I know what week it is. I know what day of the week it is. That's crazy. I haven't felt this way since COVID started. It's like done such a good job for me catching back up with what happens in my life. Being more on topic, yeah. Slight echo instead of a few seconds gap. Hey, that's wild. I'm gonna say that that's probably, sadly, not a YouTube win. That's probably a Twitch loss. Yeah, COVID did really screw it up. I was a student during it, and it really screwed up my schedule. I'm such a schedule person. Yeah. Summers when you go into stasis? Yeah, that too. Weirdly, they're helping you with time too. Hey, I'm happy I can get us all onto a good schedule here, maybe. I'm fixing everybody's schedules. I'm not fixing anyone's sleep schedules. Baroque is making a valiant effort in the Discord to fix everybody's sleep schedules. But half the time I'll see Baroque yell at EST fellas to go to bed, and I'm like, hee hee, I'm still up. And sometimes I alert them all of my presence that I'm still awake. And other times I'm like, you don't need to know I'm still awake at 3 a.m. working on things. Why would I tell you that, huh? Right? Yeah. Off with an injury. Oh no! I hope you're feeling better, Riku. Keeps you on time. Oh yay! I got you to bed at 11. Let's go. I also got to bed at 11 in all fairness today. I slept in. I've slept in a couple days lately. Barbecue bullies you to bed for good reason. For good reason. Sleep is messed up to hell. Been like that for a while. Yeah. I was joking before that I might do a 24-hour stream someday. Because my sleep schedule is abysmal right now. It's so bad. And the only way I can usually fix mine is if I stay up all night, which I don't even get sleepy when I do that usually. Usually I'll get a little sluggish. It's not a challenge to stay awake. It's more so just a thing so that when I go to bed, I will actually be sleeping and go to bed at the reasonable time. Hi, I'm Milk. Hello. Would never work for you? Maybe not, maybe not. Fix your schedule for college next week? Oh no. That was always the worst when I would have to get ready, because for me, for college, for finishing my master's, I would have to wake up at like 6-ish for going in to teach, despite the fact that students don't start class until 8. And boy, rough, because I wasn't going to bed earlier because I still had the same amount of work to do. I was just waking up earlier. So I'm really glad to not be doing that right now anymore. So we'll see. Your knee? Oh no, well I'm glad it's healed. Stiff needs exercising, there you go. Well, that's good. There you go. Oh, good night. Good night, people going to bed. Oh, hi, Nigel Bailey. Thank you for design critiques. Yeah, of course. We tried our best for your formal wear, but we kind of outed ourselves as not all being super brushed up on men's formal fashion. And boy, are there limited options for some things. Boy, are there limited options for some things, unfortunately. Yeah, 6 is early, what? Well, I had to wake up at 5:30 in high school. So it's actually not as early as I used to. So I've been enjoying getting to sleep in these days. It's a little easier now. I had the earliest bus when I was in middle school and high school. My bus picked me up at 6:30, I believe, for school when I was in high school and middle school, so rough. Not a good time. Men's fashion's limited compared to everything else, but there are a few options. Yeah, there are. We had some fashion experts trying to help us out here. I've got a good mobilized squad of fashion fellas around here. So we tried to think of some things that would help. Are we doing Blender now? No, we're doing Blender on Sunday. We're doing Blender on Sunday. This is just where we were practicing drawing spheres. Did school at 7:30? Ooh, that sucks. Our school didn't start until 8. So that's weird. Fun, you need to wake up for work at 6, accidentally going to sleep at 2. Oh no. Oh no. It just woke up at 6 a.m. to get bagels. Oh my gosh, you guys are crazy waking up at 6 for other things. Long bus ride naps were good. I couldn't fall asleep on the bus. I'm not capable of that. So not ready for school, don't want to wake up at 6. Yeah, it's rough. I don't ever want to do that again. If I can avoid it, my optimal like wake up daytime would be like, here, we're just talking at this point. We did the lesson, we're just talking. I'm gonna put us back in the classroom and I'm gonna change the thing. Here, so you can see, oh, you've got a lot of 1s typing for some reason. What happened? There we go, I'm gonna change the category, because we're just yapping at this point. We already did the lesson. Yeah, no, I hope that I will never have to wake up that early ever again. Ooh, stretch. If I could optimally wake up at 9 every day for work, that would be like the goal. I would love that if that was the way I could do things. I prefer waking up a little bit later. Typical Friday class. I know I'm yapping, but we did the lesson. That was what I had to say about it. I said. I said what I said. I did the lesson, and now we're just yapping. We accomplished our goal, so now we can chat. 9 a.m. is optimal time? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. 9 a.m. is optimal for me. My like optimal daytime would be wake up 9 a.m., go to bed at like 1 a.m. That's my like optimal day hours, if possible. Honestly, I could probably even go to bed at, well, no, 1's probably better. More hours of sleep. Should get that many hours of sleep. Should work on that. Still early enough to relax, but still feels productive. Exactly. Cyanosis VT, thank you for following. Can you guys see me fiddling with my cord here as I'm talking? I've got headphones on, and you guys can like watch me fidget, which is so weird. I'm like braiding the cord that goes into my one ear. I'm fully outed for all of my habits here. Hydrate? Bet. Ooh, there we go. Thank you. No, watching the sunrise is kind of a nice way to start the day. Hey! You know, I agree. I like seeing the sunrise, but I prefer to see the sunset, actually. From where I live, it's harder to see the sunrise because it's so obscured by mountains. But I can see the sunset because it's not. The plane is over here. It's like flat over on that horizon. For injuries, you wake up at 5 a.m.? Whoa, to walk your dog. See, that's why, like, don't get me wrong here, love dogs. I don't think I could have a dog. I don't think I could do it because having to take the dog outside at whatever hours they need to be taken outside at I don't know if I could do that. I don't know if that would work for me. I'm very much a cat person. Oh, I can tell you the fun thing I've obtained, which is that I now have I'm working on getting a snake. I'm planning to get a snake, but I'm waiting to get the snake until after I have moved. Because I don't want to put that little guy through all of that. Through 2 moves in like 2 weeks. But, working on getting my snake, I got a very nice dumpster dove in for 60-gallon aquarium tank that Billy helped me haul out of a dumpster 2 days ago. I love living in a college town, if for no other reason than because the students just throw out all these things that are worth so much money. It's like a nice $60, or not $60, 60-gallon glass tank. Those are not especially affordable to get a nice one. It's free. All I had to do, I stuck it in the bathtub, I washed it out, cleaned it out all the way. Yeah, need to dumpster dive more. That's where one of my monitors came from. That's where a ton of my miscellaneous things come from. Litter box training a dog. Jubby, my partner's family, their dog is like pee pad trained, and they have it on like a, whatchamacallit, like a plastic tub almost. So that way, like, it is kind of almost trained that way, so that if they couldn't let the dog out because they were at work, the dog could still do that in some way. Yeah. Thank you for following, I'm Milk. You would think college towns have thriving thrift stores? They kind of do. The one I live in kind of does, but students aren't smart enough to donate their clothes half the time or donate things. They just pitch stuff. So much of the time they just pitch stuff to the point where when move out happens at the end of the semester, they roll up a, whatchamacallit, what do you call those? A dumpster. They roll up like one of those extra long, like long dumpster things. And people just throw all kinds of crazy stuff in there. I got a coat rack out of it this year, but like previously I got like my TV stand out of it. My like entertainment system came out of it. Just like, people just pitch the weirdest things that I'm like, you really couldn't find a way to transport this? You really couldn't donate this? Well, okay, I guess it's mine now for free. That's mine. Maybe you should be careful. Yeah, do be careful with dumpster diving and those other things. Be safe, be careful. Don't cut yourself. Don't do other silly things. Be safe, be careful. But the way to find stuff. Easy to find a way to donate it? Exactly, I know. I think it's probably because students move out in a rush, where students, you know, finals end on Friday, and for a lot of them, they literally move out the next day, which gives them no chance to pack. So they just end up pitching a ton of stuff, which is crazy. So, yeah, I don't know. That could be why. Yeah, I don't know. Dumpster dive in your university? You can. You could. Be safe. Do you guys not even have donation bins? Not on campus. They have them, like we've got a Walmart that's like 5 minutes away, and that's the nearest donation bin I can think of. But not closer than that, which is weird. That would be smart if they had them on campus. If they had them on the campus, like near the like dorms, and like I'm residential, but I live in the same complex as student housing is too. Some of my neighbors are actually students. Thank you for following, Munty Dog. Yeah. College town rental agreements are stupid. That is also true. It's so expensive to live in a college town, and like, I don't have a car. So I had to live very close on campus so that I could attend, which means everything's really expensive, which sucks. Middle of nowhere, what can you do? Middle school was so bad. Oh, went to online school. Well, I'm glad online school was better. Dang. Had a town, but your campus is small. See, my campus that I'm in now, it has a, air quote, downtown. It's like one street with like 4 shops on one side of it. It's a pizza place, a vape shop, go figure, college campus, and an organic market. And that's the downtown. That's the town. There's nothing here. I live in a food desert, put it that way too. Gotta move somewhere cooler. Not all college towns are built equally. Yeah. Love living in Jersey, can't live without good bagels. I love bagels. Dang, maybe I want a bagel after I finish streaming. Maybe I want a bagel. Have a license but no car, it's hell. Yeah, exactly. Cars are so expensive, and I didn't make enough while I was in grad school to pay for being in grad school and having a car. It's rough. Dang, I kind of want a bagel now. I kind of want a bagel. Huh. You're making everyone bagels? Yeah, I don't think there's good bagels that come from where I'm from. I'm just talking about the brand you buy from the Walmart is what I'm going to eat. But dang, I could go for a homemade bagel. Yeah. Interesting concept of, or contrast of organic market and vape shop. It's college students at a school that one of the biggest degrees is art. So your art kids tend to be into organics, a lot of vegetarians, and if I can tell you one thing about the art students and also just college students in general, boy, do they have nicotine addictions. They know their demographic here for what to put in town. They know. And we have 2 gas stations. Organic vapes. See, that's a concept. I don't think that's possible. I don't think you can make organic vapes. I don't know if that's possible because it's all like distilled chemicals in a way where I don't think it could ever qualify as organic, right? I don't know. Gonna give you more ads, sorry. Jubby wanted me, I'm not doing that, by the way. I'm not making the vape mod. the vape redeem. That's so silly. I'm not actually making that. I love Jubby, but I'm not doing that. But I gave a bunch of people vape ads because I was talking about that because of Jubby. Blunt simulator, no! Oh, and you stole my hair. I saw, Taiga Chama did a 2.0 debut recently and has, or is it Taiga? I think it's Taiga, who has a cigarette toggle or something, and I was like, wild. Wild. I'm just like you. Sandflower, are you bald or are you just saying that because the chat icon is bald? Do you have a buzz cut? That's crazy. Yeah. Sesame bagel person with cream cheese. Oh. See, I am mostly vegetarian. Oh, now I'm thinking about bagels. Oh, I want a bagel. I'm mostly vegetarian. I eat fish from time to time. I love me a bagel with lox. I love a salmon bagel. Bagel with cream cheese. Give me an everything bagel with cream cheese and salmon on it. So good. We actually have a bagel shop here in the town I'm in. It's a little bit down the road and I can't order from there and I don't have a car, so I don't get it. But it's really good when I can get it. And they have a salmon cream cheese that just has the salmon mixed right into it. It's good. Organic's a sale term, means very little unless you know where the food comes from. Yeah, that's also true. It's usually just a word that lets them charge more. Got a buzz cut? Hell yeah. My hair, my real hair, if I go like this, you can see how long my hair is. My hair is like, actually it looks really long in my model. My hair is like 3 inches long maybe. I'm making you hungry. Sorry. Actually, well, it's not my fault actually. We're gonna blame Manzana. Manzana is the one who started this here. Made me hungry, so now I'm talking about hungry. Is he the haircut of the bees? 3, oh, because 3 is the bee's knees? I see. Hungry too? Don't eat the mods. Don't eat the mods. Hey, don't eat the mods. What? Buttered croissants with strawberry grape jam. Ooh, that also sounds good. Dang, you guys are gonna make me, I'm gonna go eat something after I finish today. I'm gonna go get a snack. Don't eat me. I taste terrible. It's not worth it. I taste terrible. Buzzcut is fitting because didn't you name the VTuber design vids VTuber boot camp? They are called that! Oh my gosh, that is funny. Yeah, this is my boot camp haircut. Dang, I should use that for one of the I should make everyone bald for one of the thumbnails. That'd be so funny. That'd be so silly. Really play up that theme. I forgot I called it that. That logo is on all of them, but that logo is supposed to be temporary, and then I never updated it. And I also don't use that name for it either. I mean, you have a gun? Yeah, I do. Thanks for the reminder, Selma. I do forget. I do have it. Good to have. This is like the most intimidating I think I look is when, here wait, we can do even like most intimidating Squeiji, strangest Squeiji combo is bald, tall, and gun. Hi. I'm not so scary when I have those little things. Oh, Tonji makes me a little creepy too. Oh, okay. Oh no, we broke it! Oh no, Ririku! Ririku, were you here the day we broke my model? I think that was Monday. Hang on, I gotta back off because I'm so close to you now. Were you here the day we broke my model? I don't actually know how to prevent it. But if I toggle tall, if tall is toggled, hang on, while I'm toggled for small, it actually breaks my model temporarily. Let me see. Because like the combo of them is weird. If I go like, yeah. Oh no, oh God, what's happening? Help! It's so broken, it's so broken! What's happening? Tall shut off and now I'm small head, big hair! You love I can change my proportions? I love it too, except when it does this. It makes something so big, I don't know what's going on. I actually have to reload my model, is what I learned before, or it just breaks. Here, I'll reload it and I'll give you small. I'll give you small G, but the problem is that if we redeem it while I'm tall, it breaks it, which I actually haven't figured out how to prevent that. Here, I'm gonna freeze for 1 second, I'm so sorry. While I, reload myself. Here we go. Let's see, is that gonna fix it? It didn't! Why didn't it fix it? Why didn't it fix it? Hang on. That should have fixed it. Why am I not fixed? How did I fix it last time? Do you guys remember how I fixed it last time? How did I fix this last time? Let's open my voxel. Let's be voxel for a second. This is 1.0 voxel though. Okay, there we go. So if this voxel doesn't have it applied, okay. Wow, this model looks wild with this filter. I haven't seen a lot of my models with the filters. Hang on. Load different versions. Redeems just stopped. Yeah, switching models usually makes the redeems end. Maybe they just finished. Maybe they just finished. Let me open the correct version of my model. That's not it. This is my low poly model. What's happening? You guys, I don't know if you guys have actually seen this model. I posted it on Twitter, but I don't really use it because the mouth tracking's not accurate. It actually drives me nuts. This is my 1.0 low poly. I gotta make a new one for my other one. Sadly, RGBG doesn't actually work. Whoa, yeah. I'm kind of silly looking like this. I don't like the mouth tracking because it's not very accurate for how I do my mouth tracking now. But it's got like eyebrows that aren't very expressive. The eyes open and close. I like the hands on this model though. Oh, there we go. We're RGBGing. Yeah. Panini press. Yeah, I like how the hands are modeled for this one for low poly. If I full body, whoops, that's not full body. If I go like this, you can see how fun my proportions are. This is my like low poly version. But I gotta make a new one for the new version of me. Where is my correct model? Why did that load the wrong one? I clicked the one that says the right name. Let's try, nope, not that. Oh, still broken! Oh, what is happening? How do I fix this? How do I fix this? This is my fault. I toggled that and then I got size change. Do I have to send something through again? What is happening? Oh man. I need, which one is it that will fix it? Hey, I see you throwing me. Oh my gosh. My model is fully busted right now. What's happening? Has it been 5 minutes since that was redeemed for it to unredeem? Let's see. Oh, 4 minutes ago. Okay, maybe it'll go away and maybe it'll fix. Rip to my model. Yeah. You guys gotta deal with me being weird and uncanny and strange right now. Yeah. Huh. Here, I'll come back in closer. Because the problem now is that I'm short but tall at the same time. I'm short and long, and I have so much hair right now. This is like overgrown Squeiji. This is overgrown Squeiji. Look, I can like really interact with my hair now. Do you see this? What? Oh. Oh, it's fixed. Hey, something that happened there worked. I hit buttons. I'm back to normal. I'm back. Do you miss me? It's so silly. It's so silly. Oh, hi, Moyasi. Moyasi, were you watching me break my model? Rip. Manzana, you gotta stop talking about food. I gotta finish up here so that I can go eat food. Go back to giant head. I don't actually, that's not actually a functional toggle. What do you do to present your model? I use Vignon for my model. You guys are gonna get to see behind the scenes a lot more on Sunday when I do the Redeem stream. But I may do, as it's here, some closing remarks. Make it a toggle. I can make the head a toggle. We're gonna do some closing remarks here because I've been made hungry and I also finished my lesson for you all. So. Sunday. If you guys have things that you would like to see as redeems for my model, put them in the stream events channel. Put them in the stream events channel in Discord, and I will look through them and we'll pick some and we'll make some on Sunday together. Sunday, we're taking part in Oceanonak's, I don't actually know how to say Osho's name, for the creator carousel. We're gonna be doing a raid relay. We're gonna get raided into a little bit after we start, and then we have to really firmly stop streaming at 10 p.m. To raid out for it. So we're gonna participate in that fun little thing and we're gonna make some redeems. So if you have ideas for things for redeems, like items, like somebody said this, the linguigi. We can make linguigi. I can model a chef hat for it while we're live. I'm gonna start by modeling, I wanna have a clown one. I wanna have a clown nose, which is an idea I'm borrowing from Gloop and several others. I think the clown noses are silly. Now you guys can make fun of me when I'm being dumb. So I'm gonna start the stream by modeling just like a clown nose, and I'll show you guys the whole process of putting the props in here. So we'll go through, I'm gonna model it, I'll texture it, I'll put it in Unity, and then I'll put it into Vignon, and it should be fun. Bucket hat can be a paint bucket, maybe, yeah, if we stick them in the Discord, I'll look through them and pick some. So like linguigi, maybe. If you guys want me to have a redeem that just makes my head really big for some reason, we can do that. If you guys want me to have the one that just breaks my model as a redeem that you can do, we could do that. There's a whole bunch of things you can try. There's like, you can spin things in Vignon, any number of props we can build for stuff. Yeah. So that's the game plan for Sunday. So if you want to come hang out Sunday, we are starting at 6 p.m. EST and we'll be going till 10. Very, very hard numbers there. No EG accidentally streams longer. We gotta raid out at 10. Yeah. Click back on the stream, YouTube glitched and it took you to a trash taste episode? That's not me. That's not your mushroom, fella. Hey. Trash taste is stealing my fellas. They're stealing my shroommates. That's not nice. So yeah, put your suggestions in there for Sunday. And I will release what the actual schedule for Monday is actually gonna be, what time I'm gonna start, but it'll be a long one. And otherwise, Monday we will also take a look at, or at some point next week, we will take a look at the fruit gentrifications people are making. fruit gentrifications people have been making, and we'll look at the squids or any iterations people have been drawing on Monday also. We'll do a lot Monday. Before I have to vanish for a couple days. But yeah. Hi Guppy! Guppy, I'm so sorry. You're okay, you're not late, you're never late, but I am leaving. This is farewell to some degree. OMG, that's 8 a.m. for you, finally a reasonable time? What day? Reasonable time of 6 p.m. Sunday? Is that what you mean? Bye Zone Kami! You're not gonna miss the Blender stream? Ah, well, I'll be looking forward to having you there. Catch up on VODs? Yeah, oh yeah, Sunday, yeah. Usually I stream at 6 p.m. Kumi. Usually I stream at 6 p.m. EST. Forgot we were drawing the fruit? Yeah. Every time you save Blender stream audio glitches? Uh-oh. I'll have to remember. Just in time for the end of class, your favorite someone's when you have a test? Oh no. Oh no. But where are the VODs located? They're on my YouTube. If you, YouTube, it is just in my live tab. If you want to find the VODs on Twitch also hosts my VODs for about a week, but my VODs stay permanently on YouTube forever. Which I appreciate, that is like a function of YouTube, that is just going to stay there forever. But I'm also already partnered there. Hope you have a good, wonderful rest of your day today. Thank you, Guppy, I appreciate it. So, on this note, on this note, bye YouTube. Thank you guys for coming to the lesson. I hope you guys enjoyed and I hope you learned something for it. Bye YouTube. One day YouTube will allow me to actually raid people, but it is not today and it still doesn't work sadly. So bye. Thank you for coming.